Anyway, listen, hey guys, welcome to Little Black Button 91. We're giving you guys a video today. Well, a video. We're gonna do a lot of topics today. So we're gonna talk about Gabrielle Union, because she has set the internet alight again. She actually responded. Yeah, who knew? She was gonna respond to the madness. And actually, the internet's comparing her to Savannah. Savannah James as well. So we're gonna have a conversation about that. We're gonna talk a little bit about Obama. We're gonna talk about Jaxn. We'll talk about Ruby Rose. We're gonna talk about Morant. There's a few different topics we're gonna break down in the probably next hour and a half or two. Lola Brooke also came up as well. So we're gonna have a few different conversations. Aladdin versus Mermaid, because that was a conversation that was happening as well. We're going to have a few different conversations out there for you guys. So if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor. Like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification to up, lows. And for those of you who are returnees who really know what it is, baby, you got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated. All right, cool. Let's get into this. I don't want to waste time because we've got about an hour and a half or two to break this down. We've got topics to do today. Okay, all right. So whatever part you come into, I'll probably put it at the bottom of the banner so you can see what it is. Now, actually, Gabrielle Union responded. I don't want to put the music on too loud because that's going to be a copyright. You know, it's Beyonce. Beyonce is about her coins. I don't need that beef in my life. But Gabrielle Union actually responded. Yeah, she responded. She put this up here, you know, in response to you guys when you guys spoke about her 50-50 situation. So what y'all gonna do? And by the way, because some of you were coming at me like, it's not black women that are angry about the situation. Can we go to the comments again? Because us Negroes as men are not in this conversation, okay? Us as men are not in this conversation. So it weren't black men today. Today we were out of it. Look at these comments. Does this look like men? She's Buffy. One man to the pump. Okay, so. But you know, women. Oh, another man. Women, another man. Women. It looks like a fest of black women, not black men. So when I said what I said the other night, when I said the other day that this issue wasn't to black men, we weren't angry per se about it. Because you know what? We ain't complaining if you're going to say 50-50. It was black women who were angry about what Gabrielle Union was saying. No, you're not going to say angry. Angry is a wrong word. Frustrated, annoyed, disappointed, wanting better for their sister. You know what I mean? Like, it weren't to do with us. We weren't involved in this conversation. Okay? All right? That's one thing about men. We, when it don't concern us, we try to keep our mouth shut, right? We try to. I'm not saying that we're great at it. I'm saying we try to, right? So it had nothing to do with us. But going back on what Gabrielle Union was actually just kind of putting across there, this was based upon the conversation that was had the other day. And I know a lot of people had different thoughts and different opinions. What was really intriguing about it is that I think people kind of missed the point. It wasn't not necessarily my audience, but people who were listening to this kind of missed it. It's not about 50-50. And many people were complaining, and they did the exact same thing I said they would do, which is they start complaining, saying, oh, you know, he had a whole baby on you, and you still want to do 50-50? Is that why you don't do 50-50? Like, some of the reasoning behind why some people are getting annoyed about Gabrielle Union's situation is like, wait, he had a whole baby on you, and you're going to do 50-50? Oh, you're eating his groceries, so you're going to be doing 50-50? Like, these are poor excuses as to why someone does 50-50. I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, it don't make sense, right? So for me, you know, there's things, right? And then we had obviously other people saying, you know, trying to make it a black woman issue. You know, this us as black women need to do better. We need to do that. And I told you, this is what they were saying. I wasn't lying. If you go into Instagram, you'll see it, right? See, some people are saying you eat his ass, pay 50-50 bills, his wicked auntie. You know, pick Misha, now they're calling her. You know, you're seeing your roommate. Some people are saying this. Here we go again, ladies struggle, love. It's not, look, I'm just telling you what these ladies are saying. Okay. All right. And they happen to be black. It is what it is. See, here's my thing, right? I am not going to complain about the situation. It don't bother me. It's not my beef. You know what I mean? It's not my wife. It's not my partner, right? But the reality of the situation is that this is going to get people talking because all they heard was 50-50. Now, of course, Gabrielle Union has come out, obviously, to put what she has. And she says, I love when he matches my energy 50-50. That's what she put. So let's have a look. Right? She puts there, Love when he matches my 50-50. Now, so that to me supposes that she's confirming what she said, right? So let's have a conversation quickly about 50-50, and then we're going to move on because I'll come back to it later on because I want to talk about some other stuff. But that just supports what she said, right? So let's have a real conversation about this 50-50, right? And whether this is a problem or not in relationships. Whether it's a real problem in conversation in relationships, right? Conversation wise. Okay, so what obviously Gabrielle Union let us know is that, listen, she loves when her man matches her 50-50, and most people are annoyed. Why are they annoyed? Similar to I guess to why people are annoyed about the bus driver, right? So this time it's women's turn to be annoyed, right? Now they're saying it's struggle love. Where is the struggle love when you're a millionaire and he's a millionaire? Let's start there. Where is a struggle love when you both are millionaires? Come on, somebody. Talk to me. This conversation is out of our tax bracket. All right? This conversation is out of our tax bracket. Just like the MBK one again, but we're going to do it, right? There is no struggle love. You're both millionaires, right? There's no millionaires. You know what I mean? They're both millionaires. Now, if we're talking about is there a struggle? Okay, if we're talking about this, if there's an actual struggle in terms of conversation, in terms of what's happening within, what's happening in their relationship, what people are really annoyed about, what people are really annoyed about is the fact that, and this is exactly why men were also annoyed about the Ebony K situation, is because of the trickle down effect. When somebody has power, status, and wealth, and they do something, people who are below them are scared because it means they set a precedence for people below them. Right? Now, I've had this conversation before, and you guys know this, right? I really hate this terminology that when someone says 50-50, your first response is, are we roommates? No, we're partners. And whatever the patriarchy or whatever the fact that men can make more money or whatever, if you are making the same amount of money and you decide that you want to go and decide that you're gonna share bills down the line or whatever, or however it looks, because sometimes 50-50 is more of a term we use for sharing bills, right? Then what is your beef? Okay, what is your beef? You see what I'm saying to you, right? So the beef that they're having with Gabrielle Union is the same thing they're having with Ebony K, which is that there's the annoyance is the fact that somebody higher up is talking about something, which means there's going to be a trickle down effect. You know how I know that? Because it's the same thing that was happening in the Bible. The same thing happened if you go to read the book of Esther chapters 1 and 2. The reason why Vashti was removed is because 7 wise men came to King Xerxes and said to him, look, if you decide not to remove Queen Vashti from the podium and remove her from the throne, what's going to happen is her behavior is going to trickle down to those who are below, and their wives are going to do what she did. Okay, that's it. Okay, so in that reality, right, I can understand why women were complaining about this issue. I get it. It's like, baby, no, if you do that, these men ain't gonna improve. We need you to be the role model. That's inadvertently what they're kind of saying behind this. That's what they're kind of saying subconsciously. It's like, no, if you don't show it a standard, then the people below you are gonna see it as that's a standard for it. Okay, all right. So I get that point, right? Number 2, I can see some people have made some comments about the fact that, she said she was stressed. I actually broke it down yesterday about what the stress was. It wasn't about Dwayne Wade. She wasn't stressed about her household bills. She was a sole provider for people outside of her home. Had nothing to do with Dwayne Wade. And everything to do with her own commitments that she has and her way of looking at money. That's what her stress was. Her stress wasn't that I can't meet my bills for my household, this household. And that's what I wanted to break. That's why I took my time for the video yesterday to break it down so people understand. Because just like us as men were doing with Ebony K, some people were fighting a wrong fight by getting annoyed about the fact she want to marry a bus driver. We don't care if she want to marry a bus driver. What you need to be annoyed about is the fact that her attitude. In this instance, I actually understand where women are coming from. I just feel like they've missed the key point. The key point is she's not stressed about the household bills. She's stressed about her family, which means it's her own. That means it's her own responsibility. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? Her own responsibility, which is slightly different. Okay, that's why it's slightly different. You know what I mean? Jessica said, yeah, only problem is that she's stressed over not coming up with her end, but she probably just wanted to pretend she's relatable and struggling too. Rich girl, bye. Yeah, no, she no, there's a real, I believe there's a real stress there. And the stress is more of the fact that someone relies on you wholeheartedly. You know, if she loses her job today, Dwayne Wade can pay the bills. That is not going to be an issue, right? Dwayne Wade can pay the bills. That is not going to be an issue. But the reality is, if you've got your own family and friends that you're looking after, that's your own responsibility, which you may not want to be putting onto your partner, right? Well, let's ask a question. Would you want to put your mom, your dad, your auntie, your uncles, your cousins, would you want to put that onto your rich husband and say, rich husband, can you take care of them as well? Would you now let's have a real conversation. Would you want to put that onto your husband? Would you want to take advantage of him like that just because he's rich? That you can ask him to take care of your mom, your dad, your auntie, your uncles, all those people as well, right? It's her own personal responsibility. And so therefore, she has her own duty to keep on working to pay those bills. That's where her stress is. It's not the Dwayne Wade bill, which is why I said I made it very specific about she ain't stressed about the bills in her own household, B. That ain't stressing her out. Right? That ain't stressing her out. Okay? That ain't stressing her out. Right? It's about being able to continue the flow of finances and income and keep that going. You know what I'm saying to you? And keep that going. That's where the difficulty often comes from, is keeping that going. You know, that's the question. That's the question you should be asking, Keela. That's the real question you should be asking. Instead of looking at Dwayne Wade, we should be looking at who is she looking after and why is she looking after them? Do you get what I'm saying to you? That's what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying to you, that people are missing what's happening here and are asking the wrong question. Their first thought is to come at men. And the reason why is because there's a frustration with men already that you're not dealing with. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about you, my audience. I'm talking about the fact that when I see those comments, I realize the reason why people are so quick to get onto Dwayne Wade is because their first instance, whenever anything goes wrong, is to try and blame a man rather than actually listening and paying attention to finer details. And that's why I said that some people are carrying an energy and they don't realize. Some people carry an energy and a posture towards men and they don't realize. And sometimes I'm trying to get people to understand, sometimes your energy, you may not say anything, but your energy towards a man, we can see it straight away. We're like, no, thank you. We're okay. We'll leave it alone as it is. That's not saying that men ain't good. That's not saying that's not saying that men are perfect. That's not saying men aren't bad. There aren't bad men out there. I call them out all the time. But when I call out the women too, I want you to understand I'm trying to give a balanced perspective, right? I'm not saying you, Keela, at all. I'm talking about, I said that when I was going through the comments, that's how it was looking like, right? You get what I'm saying to you? So it's a difficult situation because there's a stress in terms of being a provider for the external family and knowing that you are the sole provider for that external family, because he also has people he's looking after too. Okay, so he's providing for his family already. She never spoke about her immediate family, right? She never spoke about her immediate family. That wasn't where her stress was, and I think that is why Keela trying to sweeten me up. Don't do it, baby. You know what I mean? I'm a sucker for that. Okay, baby. But no, like, it's about the survival aspect, right? We it's a survival aspect, and that's why I said that I think if we focus more on her ideology as to how she has a relationship with money and how she has a relationship with finance and how she sees it, then we start to realize, okay, hold on a minute, hold on. Okay, no, she's stressed about something. It's not her family. It's stressed about the external stuff and having to be a provider. When you're in that position, it is stressful, where a whole family relies on you. Now I've kind of gone anyway. I was meant to talk about Savannah and her anyway. So we I'll do a few more minutes and then we're going to get on Savannah conversation as well. Haitian Empress said maybe she needs to better define who else she's helping. But if she's talking about her parents, for instance, and he feels he can be excluded from that equation, that is a problem. Yeah, I mean, I guess but it depends though, isn't it? Right? It really depends on how Gabby sees that responsibility and who she sees it for. There is no rule book in the hand. There's no guidebook that says that the husband has to pay for you and your family. There is none of that, right? There's none of that. It's if she works and she has a high paying job, she will feel like it's her responsibility because she makes money, right? She'll feel like it's her responsibility. And also, I already discussed this yesterday, the need to want to have control over things, right, is also key. If he pays everything, she's at his complete mercy. And that is probably also part of the stress that she could allow him to pay everything, but that then she'll be at the complete mercy of him. And then in that respect, people are saying Savannah James. Well, if LeBron James decided that today he doesn't want her, now she can take half of his income, of course, but then she loses her actual income. She loses her freedom in that instance in terms of her income. So for different people, it requires different things. I'm not saying that she's right or wrong per se. I'm saying, like, I can understand where she's coming from, that she may want control and freedom. And for her, that includes her working, having money, and that means responsibility. It's actually what she said. She said, as she has more money, she has more responsibility. That's actually what she said. As well. This also, Kaya said, obviously, but why wouldn't he want to do it for his wife's family, knowing he has more money? This is crazy. Because again, it's not necessarily about whether he would or wouldn't do it. We don't know if he wouldn't do it. That's what I'm saying. That people are assuming we don't know if he wouldn't do it, right? We don't know if he's not doing it. What we do know is Gabrielle Union said she is doing it. And if I was to take a swing at it, I would look at Gabrielle Union and go, well, I don't think she wants anyone else doing it, because again, it removes her potential control over situations, right? This is coming from somebody who was, when they were married to a man and paid all the bills, so they had every right to cheat. That tells me about control. That that once you have money, you have an element of control. And that's what people are really missing. That's the reality of the situation. When you make your own money, you have control. Someone can't tell you what, because you have your own money. And that's what she's implementing in the situation. Now, it may not be cool because it's 50-50 and he makes more money than her. But again, I don't necessarily, I think if he earns considerably more, he used to earn considerably more. I don't know if he still earns considerably more. I don't know. He doesn't play basketball anymore. So I don't know their financial income. I think a lot of people are saying that he earns considerably more. I'm like, but he doesn't play basketball anymore. You know what I mean? So he may have he may have savings or investments. That doesn't mean he has more income. You know what I mean? Or more money coming in. We also don't know what constraints he has. We don't know his outgoings. We don't know if he's got more outgoings than she has. See, having more income doesn't mean you don't have more expenditure going now. We actually don't know their breakdown of income. So actually, we first probably should find out that information first before we make the deduction as so solid as we're making it, right? Because we don't know we only know that he used to play basketball, which would have made far more money. And I don't know if he makes the same kind of income now. I'm not sure. Maybe someone can point that out. Maybe there's an article that talks about how much money he's making every year. That'll give us a better impression, but we don't know. Okay? We don't know. So this is also important. I generally do think that Gabby wants control. So I do think it's less about Dwayne Wade not wanting to and more about about why she chose that arrangement in that instance. That's fair then. Okay. Yeah, I know you guys are. I know you guys are not looking at it that way. I'm talking about the audience. I'm talking about the audience who commented rather, right? KSO, why would he allow her to speak to the point where it's public though? Because she has more control. Hasn't she done most of the speaking anyway? Even when he cheated, who was doing the speaking? Was it not her? Gabby will do what Gabby wants to do, man. Gabby will do what Gabby wants to do. You know what I mean? Jen Ogechi said, my mom has to look after her parents, 8 siblings, and all her kids back home. It'll be strange for her to ask my dad to cover that, in my opinion. I hear that, and I guess it depends on the financial income of each individual person. Again, if I make 100 million and you make only 10 million, that's a big difference, right? It's a huge difference. And of course, again, but it depends again, what are the expenditures that go along with that? I think we also need to be aware of those things before we jump in. And I hear what you're saying, Jen, as well. So it's all about, what are the expenditures? What are the expenditures of these things that are coming out? And then we can make a deduction about that as well. Yeah, so that's a big thing. So it's all about, first of all, most expenditures as well. And so it's all about that, Yeah, you already know, Trey. It's she wants to be free. That one wants to be free. That one wants to be free. Yeah, I think there's something about her control. Okay, so his net income is still full time as hers. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Again, it depends on what his expenditures are, as well, and if she wants him to help, and if they wanted to help as well. So she may not necessarily want him to help, because again, one thing that people need to understand as well about how I see Gabrielle Union is, if you help me, then I owe you, and I don't want to be in a position of owing you. So I'm going to pay my way, so I never owe you. That is something that I've also seen with us as people, when we struggle with allowing people to help us. One of the reasons why some people struggle to help one of the reasons why people struggle to allow people to help them is because if you help me, then you have the opportunity to ask me for a favor in future, right? And then I'm going to feel bad if I don't want to do it, and then I'm going to have to end up doing it even if I don't want to do it. And the reality is, oftentimes that's because you've been taken advantage of, right? You've been taken advantage of, and you know that when people ask you for something, there's often a second thing behind it. Okay, there's something else behind it, right? It's that particular aspect as well. So and again, when that can be very hard for some people. It can be very hard for some people that they allow someone to help them, and they know that maybe there's some reason why you're asking for that. Maybe you're gonna hold it against me, and I don't want you to be able to hold it against me. I don't want to be in a position where you get to have power over me because you did a favor for me. Like, for instance, paying all the bills. And when you pay all the bills, then you get to say to me, well, I don't want you to work. See, that's the thing that women don't want to understand that too, right? And I have to be very real with you, right? Because some of you are going to say to you, well, I can do whatever I want. Even if he pays all the bills, he can't tell me nothing. The reality is, you're lying. Because the only way you're going to get that to work is if the man himself oftentimes takes a backseat to you. But if he pays all the bills, now let's have a real conversation now. If he pays all the bills, unless he's not a very assertive man, which there very few are. There are men like this. There are. Okay. All right. If he pays all the bills now, he's going to have some level of say, of direction. Now, something about Gabrielle Union tells me she don't like being directed. Okay? She don't like being directed. You ain't going to tell me where we're going to go. Okay? You ain't going to tell me where we going to go. Okay? Right? So for me, for the situation and looking at it, I can see why this would be the way it is done. Right? Keela said she gonna stay quiet. Keela, you trouble, man. But no, and so that is why I said that there's an aspect. Uh, there's an aspect to this relationship that I do understand where she's coming from because of the trauma, right? If that trauma is there, it's gonna be very hard to allow him to pay everything and just do everything, because then what control do I have? Right? What level of control do I get to assert when someone says, well, I pay all the bills, so we're gonna go this way? No, but I don't want to, but I paid all the bills. Okay. All right. So we're selling this house and we get another one. Now I hear what you're saying, and I'm taking in what you're saying, and I take what you mean to say. But when I look at it financially, this is what I'm going to say. Right. So then your voice can be more minimalized. Doesn't mean it's going to be minimalized. Hey, listen, I'm not saying this is absolutely everybody's situation. I'm saying you tend to have less say. Money is power. And I think people pretend as if that's not the case. Right? So sometimes what can happen is that some people are scared of that particular dynamic being in a relationship. Now, that's not necessarily a bad dynamic, because if the person cares about you and loves you, okay, all right, if the person cares about you and loves you, then by all means, trust his direction. But there are some people that are going to come with trauma and they're going to be like, no, I don't want that. Now, here's my thing. I also think as well that there are certain women in this world who that are never going to conform to what women should be like generally, right? I think Gabrielle Union might be one of those people. If you are an advocator, right? If you're a feminist, an advocator for those who are broken and hurt, and that, you're going to live a different life. See, I know, and that's what I'm saying to you. That's why I made a little bit of a exception for Gabrielle Union, because once I found out she's an advocator, you don't live a normal life. Once you start advocating for people, you start fighting. People that fight struggle, because they're always fighting. Okay, they're always fighting, right? So she's always going to want to have a say, have her way of doing things, want things to be a particular direction, particular way. That's just always going to be her. I don't think that's going to change, even if she heals from the trauma. I think she'll always be an advocate. And when you start that particular advocation type where you want to defend people, it can be very difficult. Yeah. So that could be also very difficult as well. So I think there's been a trauma there. I think there's some advocacy as well there. I think that's going to be a struggle for her. But personally, hey, if he can pay all the bills, she should. That may be a part of her work in progress, to allow him to do so, and she can and trust that he's not going to usurp the power in the relationship. You know what I mean? That's also a word too. Yeah. Just Call Me Bond says money is power when you don't have any financial resources, not when you don't pay all the bills. There's difference. That's fair. She has her own money. She doesn't have to actually pay the household bills. That's fine, but she has her money. So what should she do with it then? Let's ask this question now. She has money. So what should she do with her money? I'm not saying that she shouldn't. Personally, if he can pay all the bills, I don't see why he shouldn't. But I'm saying, what should she do with the money? Okay. So Haitian Empress said, take care of her leech, I mean people. Okay. So does any money go back into the household? Does any money go back into the household, or should the money just be saved for herself? What should her money do? In general. Right? In general. Invest, donate, help, support. Does any money go back into the family? Mm. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. So there we go. So in a sense, your money is still paying for stuff. So so it's more about it's more about how it's perceived and how it's looked, right? Because kids ain't cheap. Number one, kids are not cheap. Investments cost money, right? Okay, you upgrading holidays ain't cheap either. Okay, so you end up paying quite. You may not be paying 50. You might be paying 40. You might be close to 30, maybe 35. It depends on some people, depending on your range. You might see that you actually are you're starting to pay quite a bit. The issue that people have usually is the word 50-50. That's what they have a problem with because it comes with imagery, right? 50-50 comes with imagery. It comes with a whole backstory. But the reality is, it's partnership. What we should be calling it? When she said 50-50, I don't even think she even really meant 50-50. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think she even. I just think she just said it as a way of saying partnership. It's another word for we in partnership. You know, we're in partnership, right? So I don't even think it's about 50 because as soon as someone says 50-50, someone goes, "I'm not a roommate." But who told you you're a roommate? Maybe that's what we need as a partnership to make this work, right? Maybe we need it to make it work. So maybe the word 50-50 is a trigger. So what we need to start saying is, you know what? I pay towards a partnership. You know what I mean? I pay towards a partnership. Whether it's investing or not, Lyndon, is part of the financial outgoings. That's what I'm trying to say. Like your money is doing something. It's going somewhere. It's not just staying in your hands. It's going somewhere. That's what I mean by that. Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is, listen. The reality is, right? Most of you, average earners. I've said this before, and I'll say it again for you. Most of you are average earners. You're gonna find a what? An average man. And by the words of by Ebony K, mediocrity. You're gonna date men who got C's and D's. Okay, some of you are gonna say, no, it's not my life. Whatever. Ask your man. He's probably got a C and a D. It doesn't mean nothing to me. I don't think he's mediocre. I think he's amazing. But the reality is, most of us are going to have combined incomes. And we don't question about whether it's 50-50 or 60-60 or 70-70 or 100-100. Most of you are not having this conversation. You're saying, what needs to be done? We can bring the conversation away from Gabrielle Union for a little bit now, right? Because we all know we're going to have our opinion on that, right? But the reality is, right, we are average. Okay, we're average people with average salaries. And the majority of you are going to be supplying with your partner. Okay, a majority of you. Some of you are going to tell. I get it. Some of you are going to have a man that's going to have the ability to pay all your bills. The most of you are not. And this is the reality we have to come to. And it's not just a black thing, it's in white households, in Asian households. There are other households too who make it work by having partnered income. Now, you don't ask whether it's 50-50. You don't ask whether you can get, you work on whatever percentage you get. If you earn the same amount of money, right? You earn the same amount of money. No one's asking, you what is it 50-50? Now, I may get the mortgage. Maybe you'll get the this and that and that and that, whatever it is, but you're gonna fill in. You're gonna fill in, you know? You know what I mean? But I think sometimes we live in this illusion of a world of fantasy, and it's like, no, but you're an average day person. Me and too, I'm an average day person. Most of us are gonna need two people's income to make it work. You know, yeah. Natasha, at this rate, water, gas, and electric is becoming astronomically high. At this rate, hey, your rent and your water and your electric is gonna be mad. Ask people in the UK, I will tell you. Of course, they're not the same. But your people's water and electric, let me say specifically, electric and gas has gone up so high. Your rent is almost, some people's rent is now almost getting to the point where your electric and gas is getting so close to it. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily going to be literally 50-50. Okay. It's not literally going to be 50-50. But someone might say, well, we do 50-50 because what it means is, hey, I pay this, you pay that, blah, blah. And it's just like we pay this and pay that. Right? Now, this conversation doesn't even happen if we just put our money into a pot. It's our money. Right? See, we're getting stressed about is a man going to pay more? The reality is you should be putting your money into a pot, which is our money. Right? Our money. Which means if it's our money, it's not 50-50. It's whatever the combined income is to make it work, pay off what we need to pay off, and live our life. You know? Right? And live our life. This whole it's a roommates thing. It's like whether you pay 50-50 of the rent does not make you a roommate. But guess what? Okay, let's say he pays all the rent and you pay everything else. How does it make you a roommate? You know? Yeah. We're average. Most of us. Okay? It's the imagery. It's the idea. It's the fantasy. It's like it's our little hope of a boast. I feel like that's what it sounds like. It's like that's that little. Well, my man pays the mortgage. You know, I pay the little stuff beside it. It's like, okay, I hear you. Okay. So I'm just saying, you know, that's the only thing I would personally say. I hear you, Kaya. I hear you. Listen, we're not saying it's easy, and we're not saying it's simple. The reality is, when we live, God damn, girl, your picture, the melanin on you, baby, Kaya. Okay, you know what? I might go 100% on this. You know what I mean, Kaya? Because you know, the melanin is popping right now. You know, what's the bills I need to pay? Just let me know what bills I got to pay, Kaya. You know what I'm saying? But no, in reality, in reality, I hear what you're saying, right? I hear what you're saying, and this is real. I hear what you're saying, but the reality is this. Then we're gonna start having a real conversation about how then who's breaking up these relationships then? Because if it's making the pum pum dry, who's what else is becoming dry? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, what else is becoming stale in this relationship? Right? It's not coming from my end. Right? The staleness is not coming from my end then. As a man, it's coming from your end. Right? Because you're not living the life that you want to be able to live. The reality is most of us are not going to have the perfect life. We're going to have to live average lives, right? So, of course, yes, okay, maybe not 50-50, all right? So maybe not the terminology 50-50. It's a partnership. And hopefully, you know, due to some of my, someone says, get out of this convo until I get into a real relationship. Why would you say that? What would make you say that I need to get into a real relationship to be able to understand that point of view? You know what I mean? How would I need to get into a relationship? We're dealing with average people who there are some blessings in our community where men are able to pay all the bills. Okay, there are some real people in this world who have, by the grace of God, have the financial capacity to pay all the bills. Okay, all right. But I'm saying that the reality is of most people's life is that they're not going to be able to do that. There are men that are exceptional. You're asking for every man to be a king when he's not. If everybody's a king, who is the pauper and who is and who is those who are followers? I'm saying to you that not every man is a king. And so what I'm saying is some people's lives, unfortunately, by not marrying a king, you will have to put in a bit more effort than the next lady beside you. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Right. So I'm not saying that it's gonna be everybody. You know, you don't know what type of woman you'll meet or decide to love. But I don't get that how that makes sense. It's not dependent on what woman I meet. It's dependent on the kind of person I am. You know what I'm saying to you, right? If I have more, I want to give more. That's just my character. If I have more, I want to be able to give more. All right. If I have more, I want to be able to give more. I'm not saying that we have to split everything 50-50 per se. What I'm saying is that if I have more, I want to give more. But the reality is, if someone to pay all the bills, they have to have the ability to do so first and foremost. And if that is not what they have, what you're going to do is you're going to have to work together. And how you work together is, it's not necessarily 50-50, but it's, we're going to work with what we have. But if you both earn the same amount of money, you see what I'm saying to you? It is a character issue, Lynn. Of course, it's a character issue. But again, I'm being very careful with the Dwayne Wade situation because I don't know his expenses. But if I was to go about the fact that, let's say his expenses weren't that great, then yes, he could definitely pay more. Why would she be paying 50-50? And the only thing I can say is I don't think he's not paying it because no one pay it. I think he ain't paying it because Gabrielle don't want him to pay it. You see what I'm saying to you? I personally think he's not paying it because she doesn't want him to pay it, because it allows her to remain in control. So I don't think this is about him not paying. It's about her not wanting him to pay. You know what I mean? So unless we hear something different from her saying, you know what, we've had a conversation and, you know, he didn't want to pay and I insisted that, you know, unless we had that conversation, from now what we've heard, it don't sound like he don't want to pay. It sounds like she want to make sure that she wants to spend her to pay her way in, because it gives her a level of control and some calmness of her anxiety of that if he pays everything, then you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Remember, she went from a place where she was paying all the bills. So it's slightly different. Anyway, let me shift it from there to quickly to Savannah conversation. That was our main conversation once more again, and I appreciate you guys. I will be reloading these conversations later on. I'll chop them up into smaller pieces so you guys can watch them in smaller chunks as well. So hopefully you guys will be able to watch it a little bit later on. Okay, let's go to this conversation real quick, because I think this is what I wanted to talk about as a major role. And it was a Savannah situation, because since we're already here in this conversation, I think it'd be a good time to talk about it. So the Gabrielle Union versus Savannah situation, because I saw on Twitter something came up. So this was a tweet that came up on Twitter, and it was quite interesting. Hold on, why is that? Let me just put this here. Yes, scroll. Thank you. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, cool. So we've got this next conversation. So you know, let's have a look at this part here. Okay. So there was a tweet here put out here, and someone put two different type of women. Someone said, y'all feel, this was the title, y'all feel Gabrielle Union says she still has fears that if a movie gets cancelled, she won't be able to pay her bills. Me and Dwayne split everything 50-50. LeBron James' wife, Savannah, says she just wanted to focus on being a great mom and supporting her husband when asked why she keeps a low profile, while other NBA players' wives do basketball wives and stuff choose to go on reality TV, become influencers and build brands, right? Now, this is a real good conversation. This is interesting, right? It's a real conversation, okay? A real conversation, all right? All right? Because someone could say that Savannah is in a better place because her man pays all the bills. She just gets to be a mum. Savannah's only in a better place if she has no desire to be anything more than the great mum she is and a great wife. Right? This is why I said there are certain women that I give exceptions to, because their destiny is not to be a great housewife and a great mum. Their destiny is to be something greater outside of the four walls of their house. Savannah's comfortable being that person. That's great. She likes that. She wants to just be a housewife and a mum. She's comfortable there, right? She's comfortable there, right? And by all means, anything that LeBron has done, you know, I don't think he's cheated or anything, or I hope he hasn't cheated. But you know what? Even if he has cheated, listen, he's done it very quietly. He's not brought embarrassment to her door. You know, he hasn't done anything mad like that out there, right? So let's just say he's faithful for now. So let me not say that because he hasn't cheated or anything like that. You know, I have a feeling that, you know, yeah. I mean, I heard some rumblings in the jungle, but you know what I mean? It stays quiet, right? You know, so you know, I hear rumbles in the jungle, and some rumbles underneath the surface, you guys know. But LeBron James doesn't bring embarrassment yet to her door. Okay? All right, yet to her door. So of course, being the housewife and being the mum has paid off. It's worked. Do you know what? It looks like she's chosen a better path. The reality is two factors here. He ain't embarrassed her, number one. He ain't brought shit to her door. He hasn't replaced her with another woman. He's kept it real loyal. Number two, the other aspect is, does she have aspirations to be anything more? That's the real question. See, what feminism fought for wasn't that so women can leave the kitchen and leave wife role. The feminism fought for so they can enter the workforce if they wanted to, if they chose to be more. That is what they fought for. The original wave, not the one that's now. This fourth wave is a bit mad. So, you know, this fourth wave is a bit crazy. You know what I mean? Okay. But the reality of the situation is, right, that for Savannah, she's living what she wanted to live. Now, for Gabrielle Union, her emphasis is not just to be a mom and to be just somebody who is a housewife. And biblically, we see this too. There are women out there too who did not just want to be a housewife or just a wife, right? And there's some that did. Okay, when we look at someone like Deborah in the Bible, when we look at the woman that did the woman that preached alongside her husband, I can't remember her name now. Is it Priscilla? Also, too, you know, and when you see the women of Suzanne and Mary Magdalene, those who supported Jesus, you know, their role wasn't just to be a wife woman. I mean, to be fair, Suzanne was a wife, but she supported Jesus' ministry. Mary Magdalene she was a who, but she changed by the Lord's grace. Thank God. You know, so the reality of the situation is that there are a unique set of women, I would like to call them. There are quite a few of women who do not want to be just women. In fact, had she look, would feminism be as far as it is now if people chose what Savannah chose? Just kept quiet and lived a little bit. Savannah's living off the work of other women deciding that they are going to risk their life and be sacrificed to be in a position where they're different to what she is. We are not in a position to judge it in that particular way, because depending on what your desires are, this is very important. Okay, Gabrielle Union is somebody who loves acting, loves the pursuit of business, being an advocate for other people. So therefore, her thing is not just to be a mother or a stepmom. It is to be beyond. Okay, it's to be beyond. Okay. Did I say it condescendingly? Oh, did I phrase it condescendingly? I didn't mean to condescendingly. I meant to say it in a way that, listen, I'm saying that Savannah has the ability to rest in her position because other women decided to sacrifice their life. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So we can't make it that Savannah's better than Gabby because she chose a different path. What I'm saying is Savannah gets to rest in that position and choose to rest in it. It's a choice now. It's not a you have to. And she gets to do that because other women who decided they're gonna break the mold, she gets to do that. That's what I'm saying. That's the reality of life. You wouldn't have a choice if some women didn't choose to do this. So I praise the woman who decided that, you know what? You say it condescending when she said she wants something beyond her husband's shadow. Huh? You say it condescendingly when you say she wants to be something beyond her. No, there's nothing condescending. Why would that be condescending? I actually appreciate Gabby for doing that. Where's the condescending behind that? I actually appreciate Gabby and people like Gabby who decide to fight. I appreciate that. This is why I did a video yesterday and I said I didn't want to kill her, because I actually appreciate advocators. Because had she, let's give another example, right? When Terry Crews came out, And by the way, this is why I don't rate. This is why I didn't rate Terry Crews for what he did. When Terry Crews came out and said, "I've been touched," when Gabby came out, she defended him straight away. She was advocating for him. Hey, I got your back. When it was her time, did he do the exact same for her? He didn't do the exact same thing for her. He didn't. I appreciate Gabby in certain things because of the way that she advocates. Right? The way she advocates. So what I'm saying is that had it not been for people like Gabby who said, "I'm not just gonna stay in the kitchen and be a mom and be and be the traditional role," and I'm gonna say, "No, I'm gonna be more than that." Right? I'm gonna be more than that. No, I'm gonna be more than that. I want to do more. I want to be outside the four walls. I want to do this. I want to do that. Had it not been for that, Savannah doesn't get a choice. That's the point I'm making. Right? So we don't get to make Savannah being the better choice. She's not a better choice. She's a choice that she can choose to do, right? Because she wouldn't have had this choice if other women didn't decide to fight. That's why I'm trying to make the point very, very clear and make it very evident that some people get to choose this role now. Choose it, right? Not out of necessity now out of choice. Do you get what I'm saying to you? I did ask the question, bro. I really did. I said, does she want anything more than this? If she doesn't want anything more than it, then she's at her premium. She's living her best life. But if she wants more, then her being just a wife and being someone's husband, someone being someone's wife and someone's mom ain't gonna be enough for her. But if she has a desire just to be that place, then she's living her best life. She's doing what she wants to do. That is not what I'm saying. And you know that's not what I'm saying at all. That is not what I'm saying as well. Because that is definitely not what I said. That is not the way in the tone of what I'm saying is, right? When I say she just wants to be a wife and she just wants to be a mom, if that's her actual desire just to be a wife and a mom, then she's living her best life. Context of how I said it and tone is also important. Come on now. Come on, Lindley. Come on. Don't do me dirty now. Okay. All right. Don't do me dirty now. Come on now. Because let's bring the evidence. Because this is what I was going on. All right. LeBron James' wife, Savannah, says she just wanted to focus on being a great mom and supporting her husband. What am I saying outside of what has been said already? Come on now. Come on. I appreciate Lyndon, but this is not what I was saying. I'm going by what's also being said because it's a topic about Savannah versus Gabrielle. And I'm saying that people can't put Savannah on a pedestal because she gets to choose because some people like to do that. You know what I mean? I appreciate Lyndon. No, there's no beef. No beef. I know you challenging me to try and just make sure. So there's no beef. I just wanted to make sure I made it very clear. You know what I mean? There's no beef. I got you, babe. No problem. I mean, no beef. Yeah, so no, so for me personally, it's like I see two opposites, and I see two different things, and I see that Savannah has chosen her portion. That's her portion, and Gabrielle's like, no, I've chosen my portion. Now, I would hope that Gabrielle can, if she feels she can get to a place where she's comfortable to allow Dwayne Wade to do it. That's from my personal perspective. I think that's in that. So but yeah, it'd be like that. So yeah, if Savannah wants more now, if she wants to do more and she chooses to do more, then different role, isn't it? Right? But she chose for this portion of her life to say, hey, for now, I want to be the mom and the wife. That's it. And I said, by the grace of God, you know what I mean? It'd be like that. Y'all hear Ayesha Curry talking about 50-50. Yeah, well, we don't hear that. Yeah. And I think, but I think Ayesha Curry's situation also is quite unique in her situation, because with Steph Curry, they met when they were very, very young. And Steph Curry comes from a basketball institutional family. He ain't broke and never been broke. He ain't come from the trenches. You know? He ain't come from the trenches. And that's also very true for Fruit Stoma. That's very true. Yeah. That's very true. And this is a conversation, Logan, as well, because this is also another conversation in terms of the fact that this can also be very difficult. It can be very, very difficult. Because, you know, one of the things that happened with Ayesha Curry, and what is what people don't really talk about as well. You know, someone said it, but you know, but yeah, no, it can be because it, and you know, if you've watched Love and Marriage DC, when you watch, if you watch Quick DJ Quick Silver, is it, and his wife, and I can't remember her name. Why isn't I got her name? Very beautiful woman. But DJ Quick and his wife, I've forgotten her name. I'm so sorry. I do apologize. I wanted to actually say her name because she's not in his shadow at all. That is the struggle they're having. She wants to come into her own now. And actually, and she was her own person before, but Brittany, thank you. And as she wants to come into her own now, there's a struggle. Right? You see that he's working more. It's Ashley, sorry, Ashley, not Brittany. Ashley, thank you. And you see that now that there's a struggle between Ashley and DJ Quick. And actually the struggle is about him just resting. He won't rest. Do you know why he won't rest? Because he doesn't want the power struggle between the two of them. He doesn't want the dynamics to change. That's the reality. Because he knows once she starts earning far more money, doing she has far more power in the relationship. And you know what happens when that happens? He loses control. Now, someone can say that's very bad, something, whatever you call it. We won't go too deep into it today, but that aspect is also a big ploy in also how relationships dynamics change, right? Because you see now Savannah not even has to, but Savannah's going to be catering herself towards LeBron James. The moment she has businesses and contracts and employees, and she has all these things she's got to do, now she's trying to balance all of these things at the same time. And what relationship they did have previously, where Savannah was at his every beck and call, now changes. She's no longer at every beck and call. Now she's gonna be asking you need to spend more time with the kids. I don't know how you're gonna do it, LeBron, but you're gonna play ball and you're gonna look after these kids. Right? Okay. So what happens is the shift happens in the relationship in terms of effort that comes into relationship. So that's where sometimes relationships can become very tricky too, because suddenly, let's say for instance, Savannah right now said, I'm choosing to be a wife and a loving and be a great mom. And then let's say for instance, Savannah goes, you know what? I want to have my own. Okay. All right. I want to have my own. And now when I have my own, this can now begin to shift the dynamics. I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm just saying oftentimes people don't really do well with the shift. It can be very difficult to navigate the shift. So that can be very difficult sometimes as well, right? So that sudden shift, if they came into that, Dwayne Wade came into knowing Gabrielle Union as Gabrielle Union. We know her as Gabrielle Union. Right? We know Gabrielle Union as Gabrielle Union. We already know that. That's Gabby. You know what I mean? That's Gabby. We know Gabby already. If LeBron, I know it's a joke, but there's a reality behind this. If LeBron says, "Hey, babe, can you get something to cook now?" Of course, he has chefs around, all this kind of stuff. We're talking hypothetical here because I'm sure he has chefs and all that stuff to do that for him anyway. But if he says, "Now, hey, babe, can you cook me a sandwich or do this, whatever?" They're not gonna have an argue about the sandwich. But if she's working and tired and all this stuff that she's trying to financially connect, that can also happen. But the reality is, because the situation has changed. So that can also be a thing too, That's very true, Lyndon, as well. That's also a reality as well. That if you don't have to have that stress of if it doesn't work, I'm not going to lose everything. You're absolutely right. That will be less stress. And the stress becomes more about your personal wanting to achieve. Lily Flower said, if you don't think Savannah doesn't have her own endeavors and quiet ventures, you're bugging. I'm not saying she doesn't. I'm saying whatever she has is not impacting the relationship because it's not so huge that we all know about it, right? So she might even have a little business on the side. She might have a little funny financial thing on the side, but it's not so huge that it takes away from the family and from her time as being a mom and being a wife. Clearly, because we're not hearing about it. So I'm not saying that she doesn't have anything. She might have investments. She might have other things. You know, she might have other things out there, but it's not so much as impacting anything to do with what her and James are doing so far. We don't even hear about it, you know, as well, So that in that instance, so that's what I mean by that, right? If she does, then they have a different dynamic of a relationship. And some people can't cope with the change. ASAP Rocky, Rihanna. Rihanna's a businesswoman. Shout out to Rihanna. Businesswoman, a musician, model. I mean, not only is she doing that, she's conquering new environments. She's created a line of makeup that was not just for black women, not just for women, but black women specifically. Okay? Like that, Rihanna is a whole boss, but she was a whole boss before ASAP Rocky got into that position. So ASAP Rocky knows what he's getting into. It's different when we don't know what we're getting into, right? And then and when I met you, you were at this particular level, and then when I now meet you, you've changed the level, right? And now how you're interacting with me is different. Now what you require from me is completely different. That can be stress on a relationship as well. So we're not going to belittle, and just to make it very clear as well, I never want to belittle being a mum and being a wife. It's a whole job in itself. So I want to make that very clear as well. Being a wife and being a mum is a whole damn job in itself. And I can tell you that because even being a firstborn third parent, apart from the financial constraints, you do everything else. You cook, you clean, you look after your baby, you potty train, you come home early, you lose summers. Okay, all right. You have to think about someone so I can tell you for sure that being a mother ain't no joke, and being a wife ain't no joke, because you're at the mercy again of having to serve someone else other than yourself. So I'm not going to take that away from any woman at all. I wanted to, if anything, we appreciate the contribution that you're bringing, which I understand. If the man has enough money to take care of all the bills, he should, because that role that you're going to play is so important. Of course. So it's different. It's powerful, That's true. And A$AP Rocky's not small boy either. A$AP Rocky is, his own musician, and he's done great things as well. So it's not like he's a small boy, it's not like he's a small boy at all. It'd be like that, All right, cool. So I went on longer than I was meant to talk about the Savannah situation, but I think it was a good conversation. I think we got some things out that needed to get out. I think this is quite interesting. I think we're going to have some interesting dialogue in the next few days about this different roles of the woman in a relationship, because Gabby represents the working woman, and not only the working woman, the highly successful working woman. So she is somebody who's at the top of her pinnacle, and that dynamic is very different to someone who is chosen a lifestyle where they're going to support the star man in the relationship. And since we're talking about that, I think it's very important now to talk about this particular relationship as well, because I think it nicely leads into it. Obama, 10-year dislike. I think this is really important to talk about this, because I think a lot of people, might have a different point of view on this conversation. I definitely want to tackle this conversation because it was a very big conversation that came up at the time, and I never really got to discuss it, but we're going to discuss it today. Okay, we're going to discuss it today. Okay, let me bring it up onto the screen as well. Okay.
Again, for a friend, you got a pen, so I can take notes.
Let me just say this: it sure helps to be out of the White House, and to have a little more time with her.
Right.
What also helps though about children, and I don't know about your spouse, Michelle. When our girls were growing up, that was priority number 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Of course.
And so I did not fully appreciate I think, as engaged of a father as I was, the degree of stress and tension for her, knowing that not just me and Michelle were under scrutiny and in this strange environment, but that we were raising our daughters,
of course,
in a kind of situation that just wasn't normal.
Back in good graces. Again, for a friend. You got a pen, start taking notes.
Let me just say this.
Okay, so talking obviously about Obama and Michelle and Barack, and they're talking about their marriage and talking about their 10-year dislike. Again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the what up lows. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. All right. Okay, so we're going to talk about this real stuff. So talking obviously about Obama here, and talking obviously about Michelle and Barack, I think what's really interesting about this is that when Michelle came out, she spoke quite boldly and said, for 10 years, I didn't like that man. And I think somebody made a comment which was so powerful. She said she didn't like him, not love him. There's a difference. And I think this is really important also to break down, because many people were focused on the dislike and like, well, I can't do that. I can't do 10 years of disliking my man. I'm so sorry. Like, but what she was saying was, I disliked him for 10 years. Rather than being, I didn't love him for 10 years. And I think this is very important differentiation to make. And the reason why I think there's a differentiation to make is because I think her perception, number one, is guided by the fact that this Negro is not a normal Negro. This isn't your normal Negro. Okay, that's the first thing we need to talk about. Okay, let's just make this very clear, because some of you ain't gonna survive 10 years. Okay, man, them hearing this very well. I want man them to hear this very clearly at the back. For you at the back, can you hear me? You won't survive 10 years of dislike. Okay, all right, because most of you are average. I'm gonna say it again because I know some of you don't like this stuff and they don't want to hear it. But the reality is, majority of you are going nowhere. Okay, when I say going nowhere, let me make it very clear so I don't offend nobody. I don't want an Ebony Williams situation. What I'm talking about is the fact is, you aren't about to become the president. Okay, you're not about to become an NFL star. You're not about to become an NBA star. You're not about to become a NHL star. You're not about to become the largest singing musician in the world or whatever, right? You're not about to become that. You're working your normal 9 to 5. Or maybe you got your little bit, you got your good business, small, medium, large, whatever. You are an everyday, maybe white collar man, or maybe a blue collar man. You might be whatever. You live an average life. When I say average, I don't mean that disrespectfully, but you're normal compared to what we call celebrities and those who have done exceptional things. Okay, what that means is that you don't get the same level of grace, and you have to understand that, right? So you can't afford 10 years of dislike, okay? Because 10 years of dislike is going to turn into hate. Real quick. All right. That's my first point I want to make. Okay. You can't handle 10 years of dislike. Your partner ain't going to give you that grace. Okay. In this modern day and age. Now, someone's going to say, but my mama, stop it. Okay. Stop it right there. Because people are willing to sacrifice in these moments when they realize greatness is around the corner. I want to make it very clear to you. Okay, I want to make it very, very clear to you so that you don't miss it and try to apply a descriptive moment to a prescription. Don't do the same thing. What I mean by that is, don't take a drug that somebody said it worked for me without it being tested on many people to say it works and say, I'm going to prescribe it to me. That's how you fail. Don't do that. Right? That's what we talk about in the Bible too. Sometimes in the Bible, people take things that are descriptive and try to make it prescriptive, and that's not how it works. Okay. So when we're talking about when she says 10 years of dislike, take that with some nuance as well, first and foremost. But number two, her man is not normal. Okay, her man just became the president of United States of the free world, quote unquote. Okay, it's not an average man. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah, he's not an average man. Yeah, so you won't survive 10 years of dislike. Okay, she can be willing to sacrifice those 10 years because she knows what's around the corner is greatness. And look, so those 10 years, what I'm talking about is you know, those 10 years, of course, I don't think it's necessarily complete dislike, but what she's describing is it was tough in those 10 years, right? So because there is something at the very end of the rainbow, there is some pot of gold that is waiting there. She's going to be okay with sacrificing in those moments because she says to herself, if I hold on a little bit longer, it's going to get better on the other side, right? And it did get better on the other side because this person became the president, okay? Not only did he become the president, Michelle was not known as Barack's wife. Michelle was known as Michelle Obama, right? Writ a book after it. And the book become one of the bestsellers. She ain't nothing to play with, bro. Okay, so she's not just a, you know what I mean. When I say just a wife, what I mean by that, in the sense of, please, I don't want anyone to be this to feel like I'm shading anybody. What I mean by that is that she didn't just play the role of being a wife and a mother, because her mind and her greatness within her mind of wanting to do more outside of that scope of a role meant that when she came into the role, we didn't just see Barack. We saw Michelle goddamn Obama. Okay? This ain't a normal woman. Okay? This ain't no normal woman. So when you hear her speak, you're like, wow. Damn. When you hear Michelle Obama, you don't go, it's just the first wife speaking. Like we've heard somebody's wife recently speak from the free world. Okay? All right? She doesn't just speak by heart. This was somebody who has wisdom and knowledge and understanding. So when she speaks, we all like, wow. I'm hearing you. Wow, this is Michelle. We don't play with Michelle. You understand what I'm saying to you? So don't prescribe your life based on a description that you don't fit the model for. Right? You ain't Michelle. And he ain't Barack. Okay? All right? We are normal people on our average day in life. You won't survive 10 years of dislike. You most likely won't. But what we can do is take some knowledge and some nuggets from what both of them have said in this moment, right? Now I'm going to play the video again, what he actually said, and get an understanding of what's happened here. All right? So let's just play this.
It sure helps to be out of the White House and to have a little more time with her.
Right.
You know, what also helps, though, about children, and I don't know about your spouse, Michelle, when our girls were growing up, that was priority number 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Of course.
And so I did not fully appreciate, I think, as engaged of a father as I was, the degree of stress and tension for her, knowing that not just me and Michelle were under scrutiny and in this strange environment, but that we were raising our daughters,
of course,
in a kind of situation that just wasn't normal.
Back in good graces.
All right, cool. So again, the 10 years sounds like, and by what he's saying, he's talking about the tough time they spent within the White House and being underneath that scrutiny. The fact that Michelle had to be perfect, had to look after the kids, had to do all this, do that. She had to be perfect wife. Okay, all right, perfect wife. Just like he had to be a perfect husband and a perfect president, right? Everybody has to play their mother freaking roles perfectly. Okay, all right, perfectly. We can't prescribe what they're talking about. So when she says she had to survive the 10 years, or when she had to make it work for the 10 years, you know, in that measure of time of those 10 years, okay, what is he doing? He's not a normal man. This is not a normal man. It's not a normal man. This job is about to set this family for life. Now, no, let me just say this now. Yeah, what they become. Okay. No. What do you want me to call? What do you want to say? Somebody who doesn't work? Are they not just a wife? No. Let's wrestle this out now. Let's get it out in the open, because I'm tired of it. If their person is just a wife and a mum, what else are they? Tell me what they are. Give me another word. Let's wrestle this out and get this out of the way so we can get past this moment. You know what I mean? If they are not anything more than just a mother and a wife, and great as they are, what else are they? Let's give them another word so that I can stop saying that. What else are they? So that I don't keep saying that. What else are they? So I know, right? Because if you're playing just a role of the wife and the mother, that is what I'm talking about. That's just what you play in the role. Now, if you end up becoming something else, then you're not just a wife and a mother. You're something else. I don't understand what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, what you want to do? You know what I mean? So you want me to give them a title now? So dedicated housemaker. So she's a dedicated housemaker. Okay. Oh man. Oh, y'all are killing me, man. Y'all are killing me, man. Listen, y'all are killing me, man. All right. Oh man. I'm not saying there isn't any work. I'm saying, what else are they doing? That is their role. Right? I did say that. I said he's just a president. I didn't say anything else. I said he's a president. What was he doing at the time? He's a president. You know what I mean? You know, he's a president. I said that about him too. He's just a president. He is just a president. Let me say this one. I'll change it. The mother and the wife. They are the mother and the wife. Okay. The mother and the wife. Okay. The mother and the wife. Okay, I'll say the mother and the wife. Yeah. I hear you. Okay. Cool. All right, cool. So anyway, back on to what I was saying. So just the president, Barack Obama, just a president and just a father, you know, in this situation. But no, all jokes aside, you know, I think what we're seeing with this situation is that, you know, we clearly see a role differentiation, right? President Obama is not a normal man. So we don't compare ourselves to President Obama as a way of doing it. Now, what's really what we can take from the situation, what we can take from the example between the two, right, is that longevity. What creates the longevity? There are times of sacrifice, right? There are times of sacrifice. So in times of sacrifice, all right, in times of sacrifice, that means there are going to be times where there will be an extended period of time where you may not like your partner, but you're going to love them. You may not like everything they do, but you're going to love them. And that is something we can take from what they've said. Now, I don't know about 10 years, but I hear what you're saying. There are going to be prolonged periods of time, okay? There are going to be prolonged periods of time when it comes to your liking, because it's almost like when we say, am I in love with my husband or am I in love with my wife? And it's like the in love part, oftentimes what we're talking about is a spark. I love them, but the spark is kind of dying down a little bit. What we need to work on is inflaming the spark a little bit. We need to find ways of reigniting the flames, almost like when we're fanning your barbecue. Sometimes the flames die down, but they're not dead. We just need to fan it a little bit as well. Okay. You know, to fan the flames, right? To fan it on purpose. And so when you begin to fan it, it raises back up again. So there is what President Obama and Michelle, we can take from that. Number one is, first and foremost, we may need to prolong a little bit longer than what we're jumping out of a situation. If your situation is, I don't like them anymore, and it's been a period of time, is it that we haven't got the spark anymore? And if that spark is no longer there, is there things that we can do now to bring that spark back in? Number two, also something that I liked what President Obama did, the president. he took some accountability, number one. Number two, he was able to tell us and say, hey, look, when I'm looking for my position, I'm seeing it like she had to do X, Y, and Z. Okay. And having to do X, Y, and Z means that now you see that your partner is going through some struggles and you acknowledge it. Right. And I think that's very important because that tells me that you're seeing some things. And that you're able to at least understand where she's coming from. So now we need to work on just getting on the same table, right? Or the same lane or the same conversation, right? If I can understand you, we can now come to an agreement about how to go about bringing back that spark or bringing back that likeness into the relationship, right? And I think the third important thing is something that he mentioned. He was a good dad, but maybe like he said, because of his job, because of his job, in that instance, right, he gonna lose out on some aspects of him being a partner and a father figure, right? And because of that job, it's gonna force him to make choices of priority. And because of that, something has to give. And in these type of jobs, they often cause you to sacrifice time with family so much so that you're going to lose out some aspects. And the brunt of that gets pushed onto the woman. It gets pushed onto the wife. It gets pushed onto the mother. It gets pushed onto someone like Michelle, who had to then play that role. You know what I'm saying to you, right? And so now, and someone's kind of brought it up as well. I think it's right as well. That, she had to say, hey, look, she had to even quit her job and now focus now becoming the woman now that wasn't who, that's never who she was. Let's not play with it. Michelle was never that person. Michelle was a person who is like, hey, look, I'm going to be a mother. I'm going to be a wife. But I tell you what, I'm gonna be outside. I'm going to be outside. I'm going to be outside doing what I need to do. And I think that's such a critical point of view as well. I think that's a critical point. She herself knows that she wants to contribute more. She understands that the way her mind works, she can't stay in that role. She has to expand her role beyond. Right? She has to expand her role beyond. So, and that's why I said that when she came into the role of being a first lady, the reason why we gravitated towards her is because she didn't just play the mother and the wife role. This is why I keep on saying just. She didn't just play the mother and the wife role. She played another role, which was that we saw her greatness beyond those two roles, right? So we saw another role come out. The other two roles are great. And actually, you need to be in those roles because they don't put anybody as president when you don't play those two roles. So, without the wife who plays a great mother and a wife, you ain't getting the presidency. Just want to make it very clear. But there's a third role that she plays, which I said you see your current president right now, looking a bit sussy. You know what I mean? It's looking a bit sussy. Okay. Her level of support for Barack was different because it wasn't just her wanting to play the perfect wife and the perfect mother. She wanted to play the role where she said, no, I'm going to give you more. Where other people might not have done that. You get what I'm saying to you? Some people might, the current role right now, Okay. Other people know that right now, right? So, but she brought something to the role. And I'm talking about wisdom, the way she spoke, she added something to the conversation. That is different. You know what I mean? So yes, but in regards to what regards to what was being done here, I think again, once more with this situation, 10 years of this, I think in reality, most people's jobs are not the president's jobs. You know what I mean? Most people's jobs are not president's jobs. Most of us are average. You know what I mean? Let's keep it a buck. Most people's jobs are average. So you ain't gonna get that same grace, okay? So you need to put in effort and work at how to make sure that our relationship doesn't fizzle out the way it does. You know what I mean? You want to be able to put in effort to make sure that also the sacrifices of your partner are not in vain, but also because as well, like, you want to make sure that, hey, there are going to be times where we're not going to be liking each other, but we need to get on a chord, and we need to open up a line of communication where we can speak to one another, right? So for 10 years, the excuse could have been the White House. After that, they're gonna have to put the work in. And for anybody else, we don't have the White House as an excuse. You don't have your sports franchise team. You're not an NFL player. You're not an NHL player. You're not this. You're not that. Yes, general life is coming at you, and I hear you. And those are real. Those are real excuses, and those are real reasons and factors as to playing into your relationship. But I'm telling you that you're gonna have to make the sacrifice and actually put into your relationship. It's both men and women. You're gonna have to put into your relationship to try and bring the spark back, to try and bring a liking to, right? Because her dislike was more focused on the fact that he couldn't spend time, and because, his role and how much time he would have spent doing that role as well, you know. So yeah, just for anybody out there, please know that it's descriptive, not prescriptive for you as well. Okay, let's go to our third one, because I want to break down. It's that next one. I want to go to my Ruby Rose conversation, because I think it's a really good conversation to have. Hopefully I don't spend too much time on it, because I'm going over my time limit, and I can't stick to a time limit at all. Don't trust me on anything. Yeah. My wife is going to suffer. I say quickie, she ain't going to never believe me, because I definitely don't mean a quickie. All right, look, Ruby Rose, pursue a woman. This conversation has been on my mind for a little while, actually, as well, because I think it was a good conversation. Again, I'll reset the room. If you're new to this channel, make sure you guys like it, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is. Let's go to this Ruby Rose conversation as well. Okay. Let's look at this. Ruby Rose said, I feel like the man is supposed to pursue the woman. I don't text/call guys first ever, unless it's my man and we locked in. Am I childish, or is that how it's supposed to be? Blueface came out and said the Bible says men should never chase women. Okay. All right. So I think this is very important, because I think this conversation is a real conversation. Should men chase after women? Well, first and foremost, let's be very clear to the words that one used. Okay. Let's be very sorry about that. My wording went out there, right? So pursue, right? The different wordings to the word pursue. And so this is very important, first and foremost, to talk about this pursue aspect, okay? So pursue. One of the wordings for pursue, let's have a look at this in a dictionary. I said in dictionary, but the internet. Oh, my internet's being slow. What's wrong with you? Thank you. All right, thank you. Internet want to move mad. Okay. All right, so the different definitions here. Look at pursue. So one of the definitions is follow or chase someone or something, persistently seek to form a sexual relationship with someone, seek to attain or accomplish a goal over a long period. Archaic means of something unpleasant persistently afflict. So mercy lasts as long as sin pursues man, right? So archaic version. To continue or proceed along, engage in activity or course of action, continue to investigate or explore. Okay. Now, of course, then another definition of it we have to take into account is what is our current day definition of what pursue actually means. Okay, and that's really important as well. Now, when we talk about pursuit, okay, I don't like the word chase. Okay, and I think it's very important. Now, of course, he wasn't necessarily wrong, because part of the definition, one of it is to follow or to chase something, or to go after, to seek after, to follow, to prosecute, prosecute, but to follow after, to go after, to try and catch someone, right? So in some respect, he is telling the truth about the word chase. Okay, all right. For instance, the car was pursued by something. You know, a hunter pursues a prey. In that aspect, so in some respect, he is very true with the wording saying about chase being a problem. I don't like the word chase. Okay, all right. I personally don't. All right. So I definitely understand that aspect. When he says about the word chase, let me give him some props and say he ain't telling no lies. Because when we talk about chasing something, it means something's running away from me. Right? Something's running away from me. So in that aspect, I'll be very, very clear. Okay. All right. I'll be very, very clear that that Blueface is not telling no lies. No man should be chasing a woman. Okay. All right. No man should be chasing a woman, which part of pursuit does include the word chase, if we're to break it all the way down. So in some aspects, he has told some truth. In some aspects. But we have to also be reminded that we have what we call current understanding of language and words, and what we mean as a general term. Okay. So when we talk about the word pursuit, does that mean I want a man to necessarily chase me? Right? Does it mean the chase aspect? Does it mean to be overly persistent? Does it mean to consistently go after somebody? I don't know if that's I don't know if that's the thought process. I'll be very clear. I don't know if that's the thought process of what she was going for. Right? But then I would also say the opposite side is I also didn't like the fact that she added the other aspects in there. Let me go back to her part here, which is I feel like a man is supposed to pursue the woman. I don't text guys, call guys first, ever. So I think she made it very clear about what she was kind of describing here, right? So she doesn't call or text guys first. Personally, I don't think you need to. Okay, if I've got your number, I don't need you to pursue. I don't need you to text or call me first, right? I don't need that aspect. Okay, I don't need that aspect either, right? So I don't need you to necessarily do that for me. Why? But there's so many angles to this. First and foremost, I do like a pursuit. I don't think anybody is gonna. I think most men that will tell you that like to hunt, they do like a little bit of a pursuit, right? And when I say that, this is only one angle. This is not the only angle. I'm just giving another angle to the thing. We do like a little bit of a pursuit, and what that means is it's not that, and the pursuit is necessarily not one that I won't ever catch you. Okay. But in the initial aspect, you want a bit of the flirtation. That is a part of the pursuit. Maybe we can say, maybe the wording should be changed. It's a part of the dance. Maybe we should change it a little bit, right? It's a part of the dance. A dance will be better suited because when I dance, I have to ask you, can I have your hand? And then dance. So maybe the word pursuit is the wrong word, right? Right? Maybe the pursuit is the wrong word, right? So in that aspect, from that angle, I can see where Blueface is coming from, but I can also see where she's coming from. I don't think that's necessarily what she definitely wanted. But when she put that whole I don't text first and call guys first, also within it, it kind of lost its messaging. And I know what I think. I want to be honest. I want to be fair to her. I don't think she was necessarily saying that per se. But when you do use the word pursuit, it does initiate a chase aspect. And that in itself creates an energy and a mode of thinking that I have to create distance between myself and you. Right? I have to create distance between myself and you. Whereas a dance can still be flirtatious, but I'm not running away from you. I'm not at a distance from you. I can, you know, if you ever see a sexy dance, a tango or something like that, you know, a ball gala dance or whatever they call it, whatever, you know, you see the whole, you know, the cuteness and the coming together and they step away again and the leg might go up on your leg. You might spin her around, and that is the dance that you require. You know what I mean? Rather than necessarily a chase or a pursuit. You know what I mean? In that aspect. So what does that mean? In a sense of in a sense of the fact that there's a need for there to be some level of flirtation in the beginning, and there are different varies of flirtation. There are levels to this. Some people like a bit much, some people don't like too much. It just depends, you know. Some people are different. But in reality, you know, something that she said, which is I understand where she's coming from. You know, she said, I feel like the man is supposed to pursue the woman. I don't text or call guys first ever. And I think that's important. I think the word first there is important. So she doesn't text them or call them first, but maybe, and again, it's a problem because obviously, you know, context of it, again, you know, he might have read more into it than it needs to be. First ever, what does that mean? First ever in terms of the relationship, before you get into a relationship, that you're not going to call him and text him first in the morning. I don't think that's what she meant. I think she probably meant more in terms of the initial aspect of it. But again, we don't have enough information to make that per se, I don't think. But then she makes a qualification, unless it's my man and we're locked in, and am I childish, or is that how it's supposed to be? And maybe there needs to be more information put into this so we can get a better understanding. Because what I would say is, you know, that you know, leave the initial text. You know, you don't have to text him first or call him first. If he's got your number, he's got it for a reason. If he asks for it, he asks for it for a reason. Or if you even gave it to him, let him text you. Let him call you. Don't lead it. Let him do what if he says he's about it, let him do it. Right? Now, the rules vary because depending on where you are, you could be on Instagram and maybe you didn't get the number and someone messages you because they saw something. Those are different things. But, you know, in terms of a number, you know, you know, there's an aspect of letting him lead. And so I do understand what Ruby Rose is kind of saying here as well. Let me let you do what you do. So if you got my number, right? Let me say this, for the first day, why is he not texting you? Why is he not calling you? Why are you having to do that first? Unless you have unless it's like, oh, you know what, I forgot my coat at your house, or, you know, you've got my camera or something, like, then that's different. But let the man lead an aspect of this dance. You know, don't try to control the dance. Let him lead the dance and see if he can lead you in that dance. You feel what I'm saying to you? And as you let him lead you, you can watch what he's doing. It's better because now you're not doing anything. You're letting him move. You can watch his movements. But if you're the one trying to move him, then you're actually not going to be paying attention to what he's doing. You're paying attention to what you're doing to get him to move. So that aspect, I do understand what she's saying in some degree. Now, here's my thing. What Blueface is not going to do is trying to bring the Bible in. Okay? Because we're not going to do that. Because if we're going to go to the Bible, we're going to have to get deep and get real deep. Let's go to Proverbs 31 first and foremost. Okay? Saying the sayings of King Lemuel contain this message, which his mother taught him. O my son of my womb, O son of my vows, do not waste your strength on women, on those who ruin kings. It's not for kings, O Lemuel, to guzzle wine. Did you tweet that? Rulers should not crave alcohol. Did you tweet that? For if they drink, they may forget the law and not give justice to the oppressed. Did you tweet that? Okay. Alcohol is for the dying. Are you dying, Blueface? And wine for those in bitter distress. Now, you might be in distress. Let them drink to forget their poverty and remember their troubles no more. Sir, you are not in poverty at this moment. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. Yes, speak up for the poor and helpless. See that they get justice. Okay? All right? So I'm just saying, you know, if you're going to use the Bible, you're going to get yourself into trouble because you're going to have to start talking about some whole different things, right? All right? You're going to talk about some different things. Let me read another scripture. Proverbs 5. My son, pay attention to my wisdom, listen carefully to my wise counsel, then you will show discernment, and your lips will express what you've learned. For the lips of an immoral woman are as sweet as honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But in the end, she's as bitter as poison, as dangerous as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead to the grave, for she cares nothing about the path of life. She staggers down and crooked tail and doesn't realize it. Why did I choose this one? Well, the reality, the situation is, look, there's Blueface be doing stuff with women outside of Christine. Like, let's be real. Now, Negro, you know you ain't using every Bible. You know you're not using every Bible verse and adhering to it. Don't try to use a Bible verse to hit her when you don't even follow the word yourself. What I mean by that is, I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm saying to you, I don't like when people start to suddenly use Jesus as a moment to try and get people like, I gotcha, when you don't even follow the word of the Lord. You know what I mean? Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it. Okay, don't do it. You know what I mean? Damn, double homicide. Yo, that thing will never not kill me, that video. You know what I'm saying? So let's not do that. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Like, let's not suddenly use the Bible now to prove your point, right? When you know you don't follow that word. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that to bash somebody. You know, you could have said all she said without using the Bible. You could have said, hey, I'm not going to chase a woman. And we had a different conversation. And we don't want any man to chase a woman. What we want, though, is some level of court. I like the word courting. I think that's a better explanation. You know, to court somebody with intention, an intentional, movement towards a woman, you know, and letting her know that this is what you want, and you want to spend your time with her and get to know her better, and to put more resources of time and energy into her. You know, nothing wrong with that at all. I ain't gonna be mad at that. Okay, I ain't gonna be mad at that at all. I think that's important. Okay, so I'm not gonna be mad at that at all. Right? Cool. Let's talk a little bit now. Let's talk a little bit about our brother Derek Jaxn, because he be out here in these streets, and we got to talk about it. So, Derek Jaxn. Okay, Mother Day's Derek Jaxn, his situation that was happening. So let me get on to it and bring this here. Derek Jaxn, obviously, he got blown up on the internet by some people. Oh, listen, it's a bit interesting. So I'm gonna read this little thing that he posted up on his page on Mother's Day. He got slaughtered for this, actually. But yes, happy Mother's Day, Danea. No matter what changes we've had in our lives, I've never seen changes in your dedication to our children. Thank you for showing up for them, even in times you struggle to show up for yourself. Thank you for learning a whole new love language so you could better give and receive love with Marley. Thank you for always being a nurturing, safe space for Derek Jaxn Jr. to express his emotions in a healthy way. Thank you for somehow keeping up with Aaliyah Shah's sporadic sleep schedule and high energy. Mothers like you don't get enough credit, but on today, I hope you feel as appreciated as you are. Our children are blessed to have you in their lives. I will always honor you for the endless sacrifices you make for them. Happy Mother's Day. Now, the comment section, yeah, they went at him. They went at him. Yeah, they came at him. They showed no mercy for him. Okay. Now, his thing. People were saying this is a narcissistic post, and he done embarrassed her again, and he don't mean these words, and saying obviously certain things. Now, the part that people might have felt some type of way about, which I could understand a bit, maybe a little bit of them, was and I personally have no problem with it actually personally, but I can see maybe why they might have said that. They said obviously when he said thank you for showing up for them even in times you struggle to show up for yourself. That's the part that people felt some type of way about, and I'm like, I see what people are trying to say, but I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that's a big deal. I don't think it's as big as a deal as it is. Thank you for showing up for them. What he's saying, hey, you weren't able to show up for yourself at times, and I appreciate you showing up the way that you did. You know what I mean? It wasn't always able to show up. But you still did. I don't see this being a humiliating piece of evidence against him moving mad. You know what I mean? I don't see that, And had he brought in and said, I know I wasn't perfect, it would have made it about him again. So him saying that, it would have made him about him. And so I'm glad he didn't say, oh, you know what, it's better that you didn't even, it's so glad that even after everything I've done, you've mentioned. No, if he said, after everything I did, you now made it, he would have made the thing about him again, right? Rather than just being about what she's actually done. Hey, you've been great. You've been this, you've been that. You showed up even in times when you were tired and you were this and da-da-da-da, right? And said all those things. So in that aspect, now what could be said is, should he have texted her? Maybe, yeah. Maybe that would have been better, right? Maybe that would have been better, him texting her and saying that, right? But it's Mother's Day, okay? Many people are putting their stuff on Mother's Day. I don't think it was a bad message, I don't think anything bad is here. So I don't think there's anything bad here. I think he probably wanted to make up for some things, probably wanted to make up for some things in public, but look, hey, could he have done it in private? Yeah, he could have done it in public. Now, let's be honest, we ain't praising him for doo-doo. The man them ain't praising him. This is not our, if he's gonna get praise, it's from women. If he's gonna get praise, it's gonna be from thanking her. It's coming from women. It's not from men, because the man them don't really care about Derek Jaxn. They don't like him, But in this situation, I look, I can see why he might be a little bit annoyed in terms of him putting it publicly. That's about the only thing I could probably fault him for. But the message itself, there's nothing bad about it. I'll be real with you. There's nothing bad about it. There is nothing bad about that message. It could just be too much. You know what I mean? And that's the real point. This queen won't quit. That's the real point. Sometimes public humiliation does require a public appraisal as well. So, but I get both points. I'm not gonna be mad at people's point. I get where their points are. Narcissistic, no, but could he have kept him to himself? Probably. Is it better he kept him to himself? Depends on who you are. Depends on who you ask. Depends on what perspective you see things from as well. So yeah, for me personally, I can see why some people are vexed about it, but yeah, I'm not gonna be too angry about it, personally. I want to talk about Lola Brooke, because I think I like this conversation. But y'all know how I am about this stuff. I feel some ways. But the Lola Brooke situation, let's get into that as well. Lola Brooke. Let me see if I got it. Do I have it? There we go. No. Hold on. Oh, where did I sit? B. Did I not put it here? Hold on, guys. Let me try and get it for you guys, because I want to get the video. It was a very good video. I liked what was being spoken about. It was intriguing. But she was having a conversation on a podcast, and she was talking about the kind of man that she actually wants. I think I might be in the wrong space. No, I don't think it's here. I think it's spiritual world. The kind of man that she wants, and I think it was quite. Here we go. Yeah, I found it. Fantastic.
I like dark-skinned men.
Lovely stuff. Okay, let's get Lola Brooke on the screen. Okay. All right, let's get that. Let's get that on the screen. Okay, Lola Brooke. If you're joining us, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. Locked and loaded. Again, We appreciate you guys for joining us. If you're a returnee, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because squeeze out here. All right, cool. Lola Brooke, she was talking on a podcast on Angela Yee, that she likes dark-skinned men. Fantastic. But I think what was said was interesting.
The best.
Sure. Do say my body.
So how does somebody like, what do you like for a guy to tell you? Like, you like for a guy, he got to check you every now and then because you're going to.
Yeah, like, shit, where my phone at?
Your phone's out there.
Oh, it's out
Me
there.
too. I feel the same way. I want a man to have me fall in line. Like, sit down, okay.
Like, give us an example.
Like when I'm wrong, let me know I'm wrong. You know, be affectionate. Tell me that, like, tell me you love me. Tell me I did a good job. I'm outside. I'm working right now. After this, motherfucker better tell me I did a good job. You know what I'm saying? You did a good job, baby. You out here working all night. It's all good.
I love that.
I'm gonna have, you know, like stuff like that. I got a bath, your bath ready for you, your milk bath ready for you, and
milk bath.
yeah, like I want a romantic guy.
Oh, nice.
What if you have more than him?
Let's pause it there. Okay. Yeah, sis. So you want him to be a romantic lover, a romantic softie, and make you fall in line? You want the hood with the romance? Baby, when you left, I lost a part of me. You know what I mean? You want a GANGSTA. Y'all don't know. I'm keeping it gangster. Okay. All right. Listen, let's keep it real. Okay. Let's keep it absolutely real. What? Baby, why are we talking about falling in line when you want a romantic man? Baby, listen, you want this tussle. Okay. It sounds like you want a tussle, but you want him to be romantic with it. And listen, I hear that. It sounds beautiful. What you're really saying, and I think this is, and often again, words carry energy and it carry ideas. I think what she's saying is she wants a man that's not a yes man and a man that's assertive, right? Here's my thing though. Why are you not in line already? You know what I mean? Why are you not in line already? I don't get that. See, when you want to be falling in, I need a guy to tell me what, you're going to end up having fights with him because he's going to tell you what he want to tell you. Okay? He's going to tell you what he want to tell you. There is nothing wrong with wanting a man that's romantic, loving, caring, run you a bath, right? But why am I having to make you fall in line? I don't get that. Why are you not in line already? Okay? Why are you not in line already? That's the question I'm asking. We already know. Listen, of course, we don't want a man. Of course, we don't want a yes man, right? You want a man that has his own mind. We want a man that is a leader. We want a man that is assertive. We want a man, who thinks of you, that serves, that appreciates, that speaks good words, and affirms you. Yeah, and half of what she was saying was making sense, right? Half of what she was saying was actually making sense. Is that initial part. And it's like, you want me to fall and you need to make me fall in line. Fall in line? Why are you to fall in line? Why are you out of position? Right? What's that about? I agree, Logan. I agree. You already know how I feel about that. I got in trouble for that when I said I don't want this. When they told me I was lying, they got me on the Christian side of the internet and they finished me. But, why do you need to? Because your behavior is out of order. And you believe that by him being thuggy, when I say thuggy, I mean in the sense of him being a tussle person, someone who's, someone that's, is gonna put you in your place, quote to say. And first and foremost, the question was set up by Angela Yee. So that was a problem in the first place because she set up the question that way by initially leading her down that road. It was a leading question, right? A corporate thug, yes, ultimate enigma, a corporate thug, right? And so the problem I have with it is that the wording of that, right? Because it puts out an energy that you are not in your place. So he has to put you in your place. No, you should really be in place. Now, what you're saying is, listen, hey, look, I need a man that's also assertive because I played my part. You know what I'm saying? And I said this before. Whenever guys or women say this thing, when a man says, I need a woman that can tell me off, yeah, he's about to cheat on you. Yeah, he better cheat on you. He gonna cheat on you because what he's saying is I need you to keep me in line. If you don't keep me in line, I can't keep myself in line. Well, if you can't keep yourself in line, you're gonna cheat. You're gonna cheat. It's not me that's gonna keep you in line. You listen, cheating is not necessarily based upon my moral code, it's based upon your moral code. Okay, they're based upon your moral code. And if you have a strong moral code of ethics that you live by, then you will stand strong on your moral code and ethics. If you don't, you'll do according to what your ethics allow you to do. That's reality and that's the truth. Okay, so we don't want a man saying, "Hey, hey, you know what? I need a woman that's gonna keep up with me, keep me in line, because yeah, you gonna cheat, and vice versa. He gonna disrespect you. So yeah, that's probably a better description, Dahlia, of what we're saying. It does sound like that, one a dad and a man. So I just need to learn that, hopefully she will understand that a little bit later on. But Angela, you set her up because that question was a leading question.
What you mean?
Like what if you just have more like financially, success,
attention?
Does that matter to you?
Nah, hell no. That don't mean anything to me. It could be somebody. It depends on how I feel. He got to make me feel a certain way. And there's a lot of men out here that got money, that's rich and can't make you feel special.
Very true.
And they're cornballs.
Because they're too busy passing it around to spreading it thin.
Right.
Community.
Like they spreading that breach out. I'm good.
So what matters to you? Do looks matter? Like if you could tell me like the things that are important to you.
I like dark-skinned men.
The best.
Sure.
Do say my body.
Dark-skinned
men. A certain, like when he walk in a room, he gotta be like he gotta be confident.
Authority figure.
Does he have to have a sense?
She likes a powerful.
He gotta be funny. You gotta make me laugh. Cause when I'm boo-booing,
you also have a really bubbly, like fun personality. So he has to match that.
He has to match that and be open to a lot of things. Like just be.
What about age limit? What?
I mean, what she's describing here, there's nothing really wrong with necessarily what she's describing here. I don't think there's any particular wrong with her. She wants a man that can command the looks in the room. Just know when he commands the looks in the room, the other women also who are also commanding, their eyes are being looked at. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with that at all. What she's describing there, you want a man that's confident, but is also, his eyes, eyes fall onto them. I get it. So long as she's aware, the downside of that is there will be eyes, and that means you're not the only one that looks at him. So yeah, so that makes sense. I'm not mad.
How old are you?
Or he's 55.
Young.
Hilarious.
I never went that.
What's the oldest you dated?
Probably like a guy like.
Spit it out. Spit it out.
I ain't go past 30.
So is that your cap? Is 30 your cap?
I could do 35.
35. What's the youngest you would go?
7. The youngest?
He got to be able to get in the club with you. Period.
Yeah, that's
21.
21 to 35.
Yeah. I wonder how old Lola Brooke is, because that's quite a large age gap. At the time, Lola Brooke. I wonder how old she is. She's born in 1994. Okay, so she's actually she's 20. She's 29. Okay. She's quite grown. Yeah, she's a grown woman. I think she's the person that sung that I Need a Rough. I think that's the one, isn't it? Right? Is that her who sung that song? Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Yeah, she's that person. Yeah. Very beautiful girl. I like a little bit of hood in me, so I ain't gonna lie to you. She's, I like a little hood in me, so I ain't gonna play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. But, baby, you need someone who can get in a club. What age is the club? 21's club, right? Yeah, 21 is too young for her, baby. She needs someone a little bit more older than that. She needs someone a bit more established. 30's too old. I was like, wait, 35? I was like, baby, I thought she was 21. Baby, you need somebody at least 30. Like, you want to be going younger than that, baby. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to say that there's not a lot of men that are mature, responsible, that are gonna be younger than you. I'm gonna be honest with you.
He gotta be
37 to be special. To be special.
Yeah,
What about kids? What if does that matter? If he has kids?
See, this is the thing. See, with me, I'm really not big on the guys having
kids.
That's
because
fair.
Kids come with baby mamas.
They do.
But
and
the
drama.
thing about that is, recently, I'm like, it might come on. It's getting a little crazy now. You might not find that.
I feel like the older you get, the more likely the man's gonna have a child.
So as long as I know that he take care of his kids, like it's times like I've dealt with a guy and he had kids, and the first thing I think about is, you got a room for him in your home? Is the room completed? Like I care about stuff like that, because what if we really get there to where we need to be, and we about to have a baby? I need to know that you're gonna be a dad to my child.
Yeah, that's attractive.
What if he's shorter than you?
Oh no!
What in the
Angela?
No.
What? I don't know. He could
He
what in the TLC special are you talking about?
Stop it right now, Stephanie. No. Stop it right now. That sounds like a Lifetime movie.
So I think what's really interesting about this, and it's not just Angela Yee. I think myself as well. I want to hold myself accountable to having better conversations in terms of what are we actually looking for. We know you have a preference, right? I think preference should be the last conversation we have. I think we should start changing the scope of dynamic conversation. Like, what is it that you need in a man? What is it you need in a woman? What are we looking for, right? I think that's the first conversation we should be having now, right? So that we can change the scope of conversation. Because look, your preference is going to be your preference. But we should start first and foremost inwardly, then come outwardly. I think it's better, so that people can start looking for those qualities first. Like, of course, we know attraction is very, very important. It's just that so that people can become better acquainted with what they actually need, right? So, for instance, you need a kind man. If you're out there, you can write this down. You need a kind man. You need a man that knows how to love. Okay? You need a man that is not invested in arguing all the time and trying to be right all the time. You need a man that is going to listen to you, weighs up options, and is led by wisdom, i.e. Jesus. But if he's not a Christian and you're not a Christian, wisdom. Somebody who leads with wisdom, okay? You need a man that is compassionate, okay? All right? You need a man who understands emotions, okay? Not when you ask him about emotions, he tells you, I've never been emotional in my life, because he thinks crying is emotions. No. We need somebody who's in tune with emotions, okay? All right? We need men who too are stable financially. That does not mean he's a millionaire. Doesn't mean he's even six figures. It means he's stable, all right? We need a man who's willing to serve. And that doesn't necessarily mean to be 6 feet under, but it means somebody who's willing to serve. You can see that, and you can see opportunities where he serves. He serves people, whether it's his family, whether it's a community, whether it's church. He has ability to serve, right? We need these aspects. I probably need to form an actual list and write it down so I can give it to you, because these aspects are quintessential. Right? These are quintessential. And you'll know this because of the way they interact with you. Right? Is he kind? When you go to the shop, look, I've said this before. Listen, if you get to a restaurant and the way that a woman or a man speaks to a waiter should tell you everything. Assertiveness is not aggression. Somebody who's assertive will not leave the waiter looking like a dickhead. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Okay, within reason. Some waiters will try and take the piss out of you. But within reason, somebody who's kind and assertive knows how to, when they're talking to a waiter, hey, listen, you've got my order wrong, or you've got my wife's order wrong. I need you to take this back, and I need you to do it again. And if you don't do it again, we're happy to leave. That's being assertive and kind. He's not disrespecting the waiter. He's not calling no names. He's not acting a fool. You know what I mean? He's keeping it kind, he's keeping it respectful. And you know what I'm saying? So how do they handle situations around them? Being humble, being modest. You know what I mean? Yeah. And leadership is a very complicated thing because there are different types of leadership, right? So I would say to ladies, probably you should study leadership as well. But in leadership, when we talk about leadership, because there are different types, some people lead by coaching. Some people have a coaching spirit when it comes to leadership, right? You'll know, and the different leadership types will come up because of the way they handle you. Some people like to coach people, right? And there are pros and there are cons to that, right? There are some leadership aspects that people like to be authoritarian. There are pros, there are cons to that. Some people like to be more what we call democratic in their leadership. There are pros, there are cons to that. Some people are more laissez-faire in their leadership. There are pros, there are cons to that, right? There are, I can't remember what the other ones are. There's like 10, right? So it really depends on what, first and foremost, you like as leadership. And number two, also as well, how that man executes that type of leadership, if it works with you. I'm personally more of a coach leadership, which, which means for me, I don't like telling people what to do. I like to advise, give you some answers, and I like to see what you're going to do with it. I also like people to come, if you want to know something, I don't like to enforce myself on you. You know what I mean? I like the fact that you come to me and say, what's your thoughts on this? Okay, let me tell you what my thoughts are on this. Thank you for including me. Let me break this to you. That's my type of leadership. Okay, right? So my leadership is more of the coaching aspect. So it depends on what kind of leadership you potentially like. Now, again, Haitian Empress said laissez-faire as in lazy, but laissez-faire works when you have a partner, especially for a man, if the woman is very dominant. And there are a few, and this is not for everybody. This is for the few. It's not for everybody. It's for the few. For the few to make it work. Some women are, I told you, some women are blessed and are graced that their mindset is expansive and they need a partner who's laissez-faire, willing to go with the flow. Now, if we were to take this into what we call temperament, which is slightly different, temperament is an aspect of how we're made up, right? Temperament, there would be what we talk about someone being a phlegmatic. A phlegmatic person is somebody who likes to go with the flow. Somebody who is easygoing. They chill. They vibe. They ride the waves. You know, they don't like pasa. They just like to go with it. Then you have what we call your melancholics. Your melancholic people oftentimes can sometimes look a bit more down. Their energy isn't so vibrant, but melancholics are very calculated. They are very good at breaking things down. They're very good at observing and breaking things to a point. But sometimes they got an energy that may be a little bit looking like they're depressed. Not necessarily are, but it can look like they're a bit depressed because they just, they don't talk much. They're not very actively open their mouth and stuff like that. You don't see that aspect, but there's some there. Then you have what we call the sanguines. Many people have encountered a sanguine before. You know a sanguine when you meet one. Party goer, life of the party, energetic, outgoing, extroverted, talkative, vibrant, all in the energy. You just, when you get around them, you get excited. Yeah. But there are pros and cons as well. And I maybe talk about another time. And then we have what we call the cholerics. Okay. The cholerics are our biggest problem. Okay. And I'll tell you why the cholerics are our biggest problem, because they are amazing leaders. Amazing. They are strong. They are dedicated. They are people that when they commit to something, they're going to complete it. If they say they're going to do it, they're going to do it. And they're very headstrong and stubborn. The only issue is that, because of that, sometimes the people skills can suffer a little bit, right? Sanguine people, great people at energy, but they can be lazy or procrastinators, one would say. Melancholics can be so great at their calculation, but can look a bit depressed. Phlegmatics can go with the flow, but the problem is they go with the flow of everything. And sometimes they need a little bit of a push to be guided. They all have pros and they have cons. And everybody has usually a main temperament and a backup temperament, or I should say a primary and a secondary temperament. You know what I mean? You'll know what you are. You know, when you do the temperament test, you'll know. I see some of you guys and some ladies, sorry, in here. I see some ladies in here. A lot of you lot are choleric. I can see it in you. You know what I mean? And cholerics make great leaders. But in relationships, you have to be aware that their strong character and dominant character can make the other party, depending on what their particular temperament is, can sometimes take a better step back. You know, so it just depends. But yes, going back to that list about leadership and talking about men and women, when you're meeting that man, listen to him. Can I give you an example? Let me give you an example, right? Love Jesse Wu. So first time I ever spoke to Jesse Wu on this platform, right? If we were on a date, and this is if we were on a date, she done way too much talking. If we were on a date. If me and Jesse Wu were on a date, she done way too much talking. Because if I'm a bad guy, she won't know. She won't know. Now, someone might say, well, you know, that might be a personality, she's more talkative. Yeah, but when you don't know me and you don't know who I am, you have to give me time to talk. Give me space to talk, so that if I'm chatting shit, you have my evidence. You know what I mean? So it's sometimes you have to just sit back sometimes and just allow the person also to talk, so that you can get where their perspective. Because what will happen is if you talk too much, you miss a lot more. You know what I'm saying to you? Right? You see what I'm saying to you? So you have to. So what bonds me? What you can hold me to is what I say. Right? What you hold me to is what I say, and what I say then becomes my bond and my word. You can then hold me to it. So you can talk, but just make sure you've asked the important questions that you need to ask me, and I've answered it. So you can talk, but make sure you're asking me. So she'll come back. No, she'll come back. She'll come back. I'm talking about if we were on a date. We were doing a show, so I don't really care. But we're doing a show, so it doesn't really matter. But if we were on a date and we're having a date, ask more questions. See, you already got to buy. You think I'm attractive. You might think I'm attractive, or you might like my energy. You might like what I'm about. Great. Now you've already got to buy in. Don't worry about that now. You know what I mean? You really like me, and maybe I like you. Okay, great. Now it's time to start asking some key questions to figure out whether we're going to be actually on the same line. And actually, that person might be a better friend. They might be a prick of a partner, but they might be a great friend. Some people are like this, and some of us men are like this, let's be honest with you, right? So by listening, you get to hold me accountable by what I say. Okay? So if I start telling you I like 4 kids, you know, I want 4 kids, you can hold me to that now. If I tell you I'm a person, oh, I like to spoil my women, and yet I'm not spoiling you, you now know. Right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because I was watching Power season 2. I'm now on season 3, guys, episode 3. Y'all should have told me before. Damn. I mean, Power's really getting into it. Power book 2. It's crazy. Tariq? My God. Anyway, but no. So what was happening was the character Mecca, all right? Mecca, Zeke, and Zeke were having a conversation. Zeke asks Mecca, his dad, yo, my mom, Monet, She said she had nothing to do with the death of my girlfriend, right? I'm asking you, did Monet have anything to do with the death of my girlfriend? And he didn't answer the question directly. He did a nice little detour, okay, and ended up with saying, here's a keys to your brand new car. The question wasn't answered. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Sorry about that, guys. If you haven't watched it, it's season 2. I'm not on season 3. I'm on season 2. Okay. All right. I'm on season 2, not season 3. I don't know what happens in season 3. Okay. Nah, Keela B's mad. Keela, why are you doing that, Keela? You know I didn't say nothing like that. Keela, why you gotta do that? Keela, why you gotta do that? I didn't do that, Keela. Okay. But no, so the key aspect is that when you ask a question, you're looking for a direct response. You know, you're looking for a response that is truthful and solid, right? That's what you're looking for, right? So that's all you're looking for. So I'm not saying don't talk. No, talk, but be mindful in terms of what kind of conversation you're having, and let it be impactful. You know, you want to get to know the person. Weave in certain questions to understand where they're coming from. Okay, right? Key questions like when you're talking, hey, what's your stand on faith? Do you believe in Jesus? You know, I believe in the universe. Yeah, I believe in Jesus, but you know, I'm not like reading my Bible that strong. Hey, baby, see that straight red there? You a Christian, and he's saying, no, I hear you. I'm about the Jesus, but you know, I'm not really. Red flag. Red flag, and your head's going off, right? At that point, red flag's going off. You know, see what his answer was like, hey, I'm there, but I'm not really there. That's it. You don't have to say anything. You can ask more questions if you want to get to know a bit better, but that's okay. All right. Or is that Bloopy said, I'm spiritual. I'm about the universe. You know what I mean? Right. So you got to be very aware about the kind of questions, kind of answers that you're actually dropping down there. Okay. So the other aspects, other aspects. It was, guys, the Jesse thing was a date. If it was a date, I wasn't using it as a show. The show was fine. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I like taking a back seat when it comes to shows, so don't worry. But no, his answer was, I'm about to tempt you away from God. I can't take Jay anywhere, man. So when you're asking about, how do you see what's your aspect of relationships? Like, I mean, like, how do you see relationships, man? So I'm just a random question, and they say something like, do you believe in commitment? And they're like, well, the thing about commitment is like, for me, or not even that, do you believe in monogamy? What my parents also do that, about right now, like how I'm seeing things right now. Oh, how you're seeing things right now? Oh yeah, in your head. When where it's going off. You know what I'm saying to you, right? Things like that also important. Those aspects too. And so these are key things. Natasha asked a very good question. Like, for instance, what if you're trying to strengthen your faith walk? Now, it all depends on what you are. So as a woman, right, what do you want? Right? Do you want somebody who's trying to strengthen their faith walk, or do you want someone already established in their walk? And it depends on what they're trying to strengthen in their faith walk. This is where you ask a qualifying question. Oh, okay, you want to strengthen? Oh, so what aspect of your faith are you trying to strengthen? Right? You show genuine interest when you're asking the question, then it doesn't become an interrogation. Oh, so I heard you said you're trying to strengthen your walk. Like, what is it you're trying to strengthen in the walk? And the person's like, well, for me, I'm trying to, stay away from, quote unquote, pornography, maybe he might say, right? And you have to ask yourself the question, can I deal with somebody who's struggling with pornography right now? May not be my kind of thing, right? Now, that's not to say that someone shouldn't be honest. They should be honest, But the reality is, you need to look. I may not be able to join myself with you in some of the things that you're suffering with, because I cannot save you, right? Someone might ask, okay, so like, you know, for me personally, what is your career path, or not even career path, but maybe, you know, or what is your ambitions and what's your goals? Someone tells you, and oh, okay, so like, so where are you at the moment then? If you want to ask me asking, right? Someone said, where you at the moment, right? Okay, cool. Okay, you know, for right now, you know, it's still in the process, you know, like I've started, you know, I haven't started any, you know, I've been, you know, like it is, you know how it goes, isn't it? Like, you know, I'm trying to do this and that. You haven't even started saving. He hasn't said anything that is even speaking to towards a building block towards his actual ambition and goal. Then at this moment, you're wasting my time. And I say this for those of us who are much older. Okay, all right, much older. We're much older. So it's a bit different, you know what I mean? If you're younger, then yeah, you're 21, you're young. Nobody's making it like that. But at 30, you know, you're grown now. Like you know what I mean? Like you're telling me you have ambitions and goals, but you haven't built anything towards it, and you shouldn't feel no way. Even if he becomes a millionaire, that's his business. He probably wouldn't have become a millionaire if you were involved. You have to think of it like that. Like, don't think, oh my God, like I could lose it. No, he wouldn't have become what he became if he was with you. Okay, all right. He needed you not to be there. That's the truth. Okay, so you know, even and someone said about the finances. Of course, finances are also and the beginning question of finances is talking about, okay, so how do you see finances? You know, you might even share something yourself. Say, hey, for me, finances is freedom. You know, how I see finances is freedom. You know, right? For me, finances is freedom. How do you see finances? Okay, great. You know, I see that. You know, and you have a real and you got to be not even, don't be scared to have a real conversation. Once you've got a buy-in with that person, once you get to know that person a little bit more, you can ask those questions. So, you know, financially, you know, how do you see it working between us two? How do you see a relationship setup? Right? What we have to be is not scared to have the conversation. How do you see a relationship setup? Do you see the man as a lead? Do you see the woman as a lead? How do you see the financial situation? You know, like how do you envisage it looking like for you? Right? You ask that qualifying question so he can say how he sees it. Give me the room to explain how I see it. Don't talk for me. Okay? Honestly, I think you can get it from a coffee date. I'm gonna be honest with you, you honestly can. You ain't gonna get it in cinema, but you're gonna get it in a coffee date because it's comfortable, you know. So so it's you know, those kind of aspects, you know. That's a great question, Jay. That is a out the park question. Because when I'm on my madness and people ask me this, I'll just tell them straight. I tell them straight. You know I'm here for. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know I'm here for. You know what I mean? Like I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not on a relationship tip. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think that is a great time. You know, that is a great question. What is your intentions? You know, that's a good point, Lillian, as well. I like that point. Don't let people think that you know, to guilt trip you. They should never be guilt tripping you. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's a great question. What are your intentions with me? In fact, that's a star question, because that just knocks people out of the park. What do you want? Because again, once I say it, you can hold me to it. And when there's behavior that doesn't align with it, you can shirk and jive what you want, baby. You said your intention was that you wanted to be in a relationship and you're looking towards marriage. Look, when I was out in them streets, I'm still trying to recover from the streets, guys. But when I was out in the streets, that was one of my questions. Not in that way. I'll be like, listen, this is what I'm on. I'm on getting down and dirty. What are you on? Boom. I ain't got time to BS with you. You feel what I'm saying to you? Right? And the same has to be done in the opposite end. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm telling you, listen, I'm trying to get down and dirty, I'm gonna be real with you. Okay? I'm trying to get down and dirty. That's what I'm trying to get down to. You now know I'm on some bull crap. You know what I mean? You know I'm on some bull crap. You know I'm on some bull crap. Now you know I'm on some. Now you know I'm on some bull crap. And if you want that, you want that. Okay, if you want that, you want that. If you don't want that, you can now go to me. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, coach. I'm not on that. Thank you. Now, not all guys are going to do that. So you have to ask the question, what are your intentions with me? And then you can hold him to it, because when behaviors don't align with somebody who actually wants you, you can say, hey, look, for me in a relationship, how I like things, you know, and this is why part of the questioning is important, because you can ask, okay, what was your previous relationships like? Okay, great. And you find the right time by listening. This is why I said about listening. Once you listen, you can ask a question on the back end of what you heard. If they say, hey, look, you know, I was with a girl, you know, I was with a girl last year and it didn't end very well. You know, and you know, like it was just, it didn't end very well, you know. It didn't end very well. Oh, okay. Oh, it didn't end very well. Like, well, how do you mean? I want to be able to understand where you're coming from, like, you know, or I'm intrigued that, you know, it didn't end very well. Like, was it her fault? Was it your fault? Like, what happened? You know, you can make a joke if you're funny and you know how to be funny. You're like, I hope she didn't. I hope, you know, no one cheated or anything. You can make it funny, like, you know what I'm saying, like, or you know, is it because I've come into your life now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're funny, you can do that, but some of you can't, so don't do it. All right. You know, so that would be, you know, so you do them kind of things there, bro. Okay. Yeah. So then you filter it how you do. Okay. Yes. Hygiene is very important, guys. Make sure you wear deodorants, brush your teeth, brush your tongue, everything like that as well, fam. People like those things there, right? But you can see that and smell that from the beginning. So you know. Let's be honest. You know. Okay. You don't even ask that question. You know what I'm saying? You know. But you can mention it as things that you like. So you let them know, you know, hey, I'm a person that likes hygiene. You know, don't wear your pants inside out and inside. That's not for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't wear, you know what I mean? Like, you can mention it as what you like. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't leave skid marks in your trousers. Like, we don't want to see that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I like my man fresh, smelling good. I'm a person that is attracted to fragrances. I'm a person that likes. I find it attractive. You don't have to even say. Just like, I find it attractive when I smell certain fragrances or certain aftershaves on a man. You know what I mean, right? You don't have to tell me what fragrance it is. You just letting me know that you like this kind of things. Okay, right? And you know, he might say, "Oh yeah, me too. I like them things as well." Oh, okay, you do. Oh, okay. What's your favorite? What's your favorite fragrance? Right now, if he's chatting pup, you'll know, because there'll be a little you know, I like did it. No, I like fragrances. I don't like many, but I like some fragrances. Right now, I am messing with Dior Sauvage. Now I've also got my Bentley that I'm messing with right now too. I got one of my cheap ones too that I got from a knockoff thing. I ain't gonna lie to you, that was working business. I wear that for the side thing. You know what I mean? Okay. All right. Haitian Empress is absolute trouble. You know? So what you're looking for is that you're not questioning, you're asking questions about things that you like and you want and you desire and you need. And the questions they give of what your analysis is. You're doing a survey without surveying. You know, you're surveying without actually surveying. You're observing by listening, you know, and you contribute towards a conversation, because you contribute towards a conversation actually making you a better conversationalist. And it's also making you able to multitask. How do I have a conversation but listen and also taking information that I need as well? Oh, okay, great. So, you know, you see what I'm saying to you? Yeah. So yeah, I just, you say that, look, I like clean spaces. I'm a person that likes clean spaces. I like clean things, if they're not clean, you're going to know. Okay. You're going to know. Okay. So you're going to know these things because you're going to see them in the way they appear and the way they dress and the way they move and the way they talk. You know what I mean? yeah, man, those things are gonna make a lot of sense once you pay attention, pick up the clues, and go beyond just liking the person. You know, man, I'm gonna say the same thing. They like clean. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's real right now. You feel me? So yeah, things like that. You know, whether you like the same things, it's like, you know. These men are not coming to me ultimately. Well, I don't know what he is. You know. Dahlia said, "Do you use wash towels?" Do you know the funny thing is, I don't even use wash towels. I use what we call a sponge. It's an African sponge. We have an African sponge. Let me tell you something, baby. The African sponge will scrub your skin. My God. Just leave you feeling clean. I can't do wash towels. They don't do enough for me, personally. For me, they don't do enough. I'm used to the African sponge, which, baby, it's like a fishnet design, and the scrub, oh, glorious, just glorious. How it just cleans your body. Okay, Sapo, thank you, Queen. You know, I'm telling you, with the scrub that we get, and you know, that's just for us as Africans. That's our thing, but. Yeah, we just feel like scrubbing this. After I come out of the shower, I feel like I'm a brand new man. Okay, you know. So, but yeah, you know. But we all have our things, you know. I don't know. We all have our things. Some people can use wash sponge because the way their skin is, they have sensitivity to their skin, so that's certain different for them, you know. Exfoliating gloves. They again. So those are the routines. You're asking these questions because you want to understand where they're coming from. Yeah. So it depends, you know. So yeah, those are questions you got to ask. So Dahlia was right. You got to ask these questions, you know. You feel me? And that's another thing. Another right. So these are things. Yeah, yeah. You know. So it depends on what it is, you know. So, but yeah, no. So back onto what we're talking about. Sorry, apologies. I went from Lola Brooke to talking about you know, talking about asking questions and stuff. But yeah, that's all the times. Asking good questions is important as well. You know, lay flat and listen. Look, now maybe they got caught out, but I don't want to just. This is what. Can we pass this on to the man them? You know, if there's any man out here, specifically the man them, but some women do get caught up, but some man them specifically. Please, man them. If you wash your clothes, you need to hang it straight away. Okay, all right, straight away. Because what I'm starting to find, no offense to anybody, but when people don't hang their clothes straight away and they leave it in the dryer or whatever too long, what happens is it picks up this catty, wet piss smell. Okay, all right, just want to be very clear. So anybody out there, if you're having the wet cat piss smell, okay, the reason is because you've let the clothes stay wet for too long. They need to dry quickly. Okay, all right, dry it quickly. Okay, hang it up. In fact, I can even show you. Look, my clothes are hanged up. Okay, as soon as I came out the dryer, I was like, yo, I gotta dry these quick. I can't mess around because the moment you leave it to soak in the wet and it's in a drosh, it just begins to smell like wet piss smell. It's like cat smell piss. You know, like, you know, maybe the cat piss is a better way too, but it just smells. Someone said it mid-dew. I think that's a better word. Okay, mid-dew, right? Just for anybody out there, just anybody who's got that situation going on, that is it, because it happens all the time. Okay, because you need to dry it. Don't let it stay in the wash too long. Okay, it's gonna come out and it's gonna be dry. Okay, all right. You know, if you know, when I said dry, but what I mean is washing machine. I keep saying dry. I forget that two words. Sorry, I apologize, guys. The wash machine. Okay, the wash machine. I do apologize. The wash machine. So yeah, no. You know, so that's also important as well when it comes to that as well. So just, you know, that hygiene. So now, what was I talking about? Back onto our topic. The last one I think I've got now, guys. I've been, you know, we spent some good time together. Let's see. I think I've done all my points. Yes. I think I've done all my points on that aspect. So let me see if I've got that. I want to see if I got the. So there was about the. I want to talk about this situation, but I don't think I'm going to do it. Okay, cool. I think I've reached my limit of points. We'll talk about some more stuff a little bit later on, maybe in the day. All right, cool. So, yes. Oh, baby. All right, listen, audience. Thank you so much for joining us as well. We've had a good time. Had some different topics that we chopped up and broke down. Jay Morant, that was it. Thank you. I was trying to think of what it was, and I didn't see it. Thank you, Latasha Walker. Jay Morant was the last one. Okay, so Jay Morant, I've actually got it as well. That was it. Thank you for reminding me, because I was like, wait, I'm sure there's one more, but I couldn't think who it was. Okay, the Jay Morant's got a very interesting one because I think I've got different perspectives on the Jay Morant situation. Let me just see this. Whew, okay. So I'm going to have several different ideas about this. Okay. Number one, Jay Morant is a basketball player, NBA professional basketball player, who has been caught on social media flashing his gun. Okay. Here's my first thought. As a basketball NBA star, you are a role model, okay? And you are somebody who has all eyes on you, okay? And this is the second time, at least that I know of now, that he has been caught on live IG with the gun, okay? Now, the biggest issue I see for this is that this is not your first offense. It's not a crime, by the way. It's not your first offense. But you've been warned and you've been suspended before. And you're back here again once more on live carrying a gun. They told you the first time, okay, that this was going to be a problem, and you're back here again. You are a role model. Now, when you become a role model, certain behaviors don't go down well. Okay? All right? Especially as a young black man. Okay? So you now having a gun on IG Live, okay, is a problem. Now, the bigger problem is also the perception of who you're hanging out with and carrying that gun with. You're not at a gun range. You're not at a Jolly Ranch carrying a gun. You're in the car, and it looks like you're smoking some weed or something, or whoever's smoking weed or whoever doing whatever. It's looking real hood and real gangster. And unfortunately, we're not in a society and a culture right now where we're seeing hood activities. Sorry, and I say hood in the sense of our culture and in terms of the way they see it, being looked at as a positive. It's always going to look like it's negative because of the stereotype that we have when it attaches to young black men, hood behaviors, and etc., right? So you've been warned the first time. You'd think the second time you'd be smarter. My third point that I find frustrating is that you ain't got no good damn friends. Right? You ain't got no good damn friends, because why are we seeing this on live once more again? Okay? Why are we seeing this on live once more again? Okay? Why are we seeing this live once more again? Who are your friends? Why are they not slapping the back of your head and telling you, so don't ruin this opportunity? Why are those friends telling you, listen, don't put this on live, bro? This ain't the time to do them things, bro. Right? Why are your friends not telling you you are a whole effort for doing what you're doing? Okay? That's the big issue. That's the big issue. Now, I want to be fair. I want to be fair. I don't know what he's going through, but this level of behavior is odd. Because as somebody said, he's not from the hood. I don't believe he's from the hood. I don't believe. I believe he has two parents who raised him up, sent him off to school, everything like that. Why is this your chosen life? It's given power all over again. It's given our brother, what's his name? What's Tariq's friend? Is it Brian? It's given Brian. It's like you're choosing a life that never chose you. You know what I'm saying to you? You're choosing a life that never chose you, which is telling me there's something deeper here that we have not seen about Morant. Because for you to want to put yourself in a place with gangsters, Braden, sorry, it's not even Brian, Braden. For you want to put yourself, I don't want to call them gangsters, I don't even know if they are gangsters, but you to put yourself in a place where you want to brandish a gun and that's considered cool. I have to question your alignment with what you consider cool. Maybe you never had friends who were younger. Maybe that's something that's happened. Maybe you weren't considered cool when you were younger. Maybe you never had the cool people like you. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you were sheltered too much because something is making you want to be in a place where you are now rebelling to your own detriment. Very similar to what we saw with Love and Marriage DC with Tyler, Jamie and his son. The son never grew up in no gang stuff. Tyler, Jamie's son never grew up in no gang stuff, and suddenly found himself there because he's rebelling. There probably is some rebellion in this young man because he might have felt there was too much strings attached to his life, too many rules, too many guidances, too many you have to stay straight, and not enough time to be able to rebel in his own particular way. And so that took him down a lane where he doesn't need to be in. Okay? Moshe said a very good point here. A lot of times, suburban black folks try to go to the lane to validate their blackness. The image that desires to become doesn't respect his suburban two-parent background. I hear that. That's fair. That's fair. That's very fair. That's a very fair truth. Your blackness being questioned is a real thing. Yeah. Your blackness being questioned is a real thing because it's a sense of identity. You're rebellious. You're rebellious. You're rebellious. Okay, so that aspect is what I'm asking myself the question: what is it that you're fighting for, Jay Morant? What is it you're looking for? What identity are you looking for in this people that you're hanging around with? You know what I mean? Something is what he's looking for. Then my other part of it says this. My other part of it is because he's black. This is why he's making this news. People be carrying AK-47, carrying loaded weapons and guns, and we ain't talking about them. They'll post a picture up on Instagram, on Facebook, and people will say, well, it's our amendment rights. We're not having this conversation here about amendment rights. Now, partly that's because you're a role model to young kids, but also it's because of the color of your skin. And we're going to be very honest with you, right? We're having a conversation about amendment rights because he actually hasn't done anything wrong. He's not committed a crime, right? He's not committed a crime. By having a gun, he hasn't committed a crime, right? So we have to be very fair with that also, right? That unfortunately, the social construct, as Natasha's put, the society we live in, the culture where we're in, as a black man, you are going to be judged on a different level, right? But that's why I also give the context of saying being in your car with the gun, it don't look good. Now, had you been at the gun range, might have seen it differently, right? Had it been at the gun range, it might have been different, right? might have been a little bit different. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Right? So for me personally, again, as I think some good points have made about morality clause in there may be a morality clause in there as well. That's very true. He may have signed a morality clause. In that instance, then he's at liability to make sure that that aspect of behavior is ruled out, right? And I don't think that's a one we need to contest. He's actually volunteering us the information. That's my biggest issue. But again, in terms of the suspension, he hasn't been stripped of the actual basketball team, but he's been suspended, right? So that was the point of contention I was asking. So that's a point. So he's holding it to his head like a gangster. He's promoting hood life. We know how our people move, but I think that's the problem, isn't it? It's the idea that is gangster life when you hold a gun to your head, but you hold a gun with your kids in the photo. It's not gangster. No, it's just him being proper. I think that's the issue, isn't it? It's the imagery behind what we consider to be quote unquote gangster, hood, dangerous, rather than someone else who is white and holding his AK-47 and not being in danger. That's why someone can walk around with an AK-47 after shooting people and they don't shoot him dead straight away, right? They say, let's take him down. Let's take him down, right? It's the aspect of what is looked at as danger. I'm not saying it isn't dangerous. I'm saying that there isn't a same equivalence given because it looks different because of the color of your skin and the way that things are reported and the way they are positioned in our society. This is not getting him off the hook. I'm saying he should never do this because he volunteered the information. We would never know if he never put it on IG. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not letting him off the hook. I'm just having a real conversation about different angles to the conversation. But the reality is, all right, the reality is he volunteered information. I don't need to know this. You know? I don't need to know this. Yeah? I don't need to. You know? So I don't know why you're volunteering us this information. You know? He doesn't realize he's in a dangerous position because the people that are allowing you to post this don't care about you. And that's what I said about his friend. That's what I said about his friends. They're not correct friends. Right? Their friends are not correct. Okay, his friends are not correct. Now, if Jar wants to bring a bigger message, that's what I was saying. Said in my head, I was thinking the same thing. I said, if Jar wants to bring a bigger message and a change the way they see things, then let's see the message. Otherwise, right now, it's looking like Young Rebellious. Right. So that's the biggest issue there. You know, what is if you haven't got a message, then you ain't really doing anything apart from just being irresponsible. And I'm saying you need to know, okay, all right, you need to know that this is not how we're gonna have. This is not an acceptable way of behaving, Jay Morant. And I don't think the suspension is unfair. I don't think the suspension is unfair because I feel like this was stupid. Nobody told you to post this, and if your friends are doing this, they ain't helping you. It's the second time we've seen this, cuz. You know what I mean? So, all right, listen. We'll talk a little bit later on, guys. You know. Oh man. You know, that's a good point, Haitian. That could be a good point. We never thought about that. This could also be something like that as well. I never thought about that, you know. So that's a good point. But yeah, listen, we'll be back very, very soon. And in a few hours' time. But like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. So appreciate you guys for coming out almost 3 hours. Much love, much appreciation. We'll see you again very, very